you've missed it and this is the first thing you're hearing on the YouTube, you've missed out and it's just too damn late. Here's the audio. All right. We're live and direct here in sunny Murrells Inlet, South Carolina. Not very sunny, though, is it?
Nah, man, it's been cloudy for the past couple of days.
That voice that you hear is my buddy Austin, who is responsible for these microphones that we're speaking in for most part.
Yeah, man, selling stuff is really fun.
Well, for those people not in the know, I guess, Austin here works at Sound Systems on 544, which I think I did like a short, like a pitch talk maybe once.
I think you did, yeah, on here. I think you pitched us. I think I did Soldier Strings or something, and you wanted to pitch us or something.
Yeah, I think I did that, and yeah, so definitely go to Sound Systems 544 to get all of your instrumentational needs.
Yeah, we do repairs. I fix guitars all day long. It's really fun. I like working on them. If you got a nice one, that's cool too. I like to play them. Just bring them in to show them to me. I don't care. I'll let you play an amp or something.
Yeah, I got to fix my case. I did some work to my case the other day, and I'm just like, I feel like most of the time, like Tom Cruise from Days of Thunder.
Oh.
Like, I know how to play it, but I just don't know I don't know what to do. I don't know how to fix it. I don't know what to do, anything. But
that's okay, man.
But I just feel like it feels like a responsibility, you know, that you have as a guitar player, as a musician, to know how to.
You'd be surprised at how many people don't take care of their instruments, though.
Yeah.
Dude, there was a J45, a Gibson J45 acoustic that came in, and it was, I don't know, maybe 90s, so it was maybe like 20 years old kind of thing. So not old enough to really be vintage, but old enough to still be old. And it had a nitro coating on it, which is really hard. You can't polish it a certain way. But it literally had probably about a millimeter's worth of caked on like smoke that this guy had.
Man.
It looked like he had just like every cigarette he ever smoked just blew right on top of his guitar.
Oh, man.
So it took me like 4 days of just cleaning this thing with rubber gloves and naphtha. Man, it was freaking terrible.
Now here's a question: when you at home, do you leave your guitar in the case or out?
It all depends. During the wintertime, I keep mine in the case just because I like to keep it like humidified correctly and all that stuff. But during the summertime, I mean, I live like a block away from the beach, so there's not really much I can do. So I just keep it out and as much as I can. But I have a husky, so I can't keep it. So I got to keep it like in the bedroom. So I
hear you.
Yeah.
What's funny is you saying the guy must have blew every cigarette that he ever smoked on this guitar. So I'm thinking like
my bench smelled like cigarettes after he left.
Yeah,
it was terrible.
Well, I'm thinking like, dude, because I keep mine cased. My guitar is always in the case, and I always have. I don't know why, but I leave it cased. Well, actually, I do know why. We had dogs once, had a Great Dane, and they got in a fight in my room, and like I have a giant scratch on my guitar from when my dogs did that. It was just a huge scratch, and it was like the first imperfection that my guitar got. Like, and because I took really good care of it, like it was a showpiece.
Yeah, but that's okay though. I mean,
but dude, if people who've seen it now, you know what it looks like.
Well, I don't know. I like guitars like that. Like my guitars are, I don't know, they're kind of messed up. Like they have like nicks where I've dropped them and stuff. Like I know my favorite guitar sat in my parents' like shed basically for, I don't know, 10 years. Like I didn't touch it. Like it outside in the weather, like in its case, just kind of, it was in a bag. Like it was in like in an uncontrolled like warehouse, just kind of like chilling for like 10 years. And now I play that thing every night. And I love the way it aged. I'm sorry I did it to it. Like I feel really bad because I treated the guitar badly, but now that I know better, I'm glad I'm treating it right. But
about what year is it?
It is a 1994.
They made them different back then.
Yeah, and it's a 1994 Mexican Squire Series Strat. It's Fiesta Red. I love this guitar, and it has a 1-ply pickup, and that's the only thing different, like between like the regular Mexican series, like made in Mexico. Because back then, Squire Series, like Squire wasn't the same. It was still a Fender. It's like a black label Fender with a Squire Series and like a little, or on the side of the headstock. Yeah. And then, cool part about the guitar is that there was a fire in February of 1994 that year in their Mexican factory. Yeah. So they sent all of their production over to Southern California factory. So there were a couple of guitars, I think about 150, that were actually put together and made, everything all actually in America, then sent back to Mexico to have put serial numbers and stuff on them, and then boom, sent back to sold as Mexican guitars, but they were actually American guitars.
Well,
I think I actually have one of them. At least I like to think I have one. I like it.
Well, a lot of people don't realize that. I'm pretty sure that the Mexican factory is like 40 miles away from the American factory.
60
They're
miles.
literally across the border.
Yeah, it's just right across the border.
Yeah.
It's not even. That's why, like, it's not hard to believe that they sent some stuff over there to be
Yeah.
put together. Like, it makes sense. Like, I don't see why not.
Yeah, absolutely. That my guitar's in that bag right behind you. That is a $25 Squire,
Like a-
Mexican Squire. That's just
freaking awesome.
That's my electric. I mean, it's the only electric that I have. And
Guitars are like that though. Like I've played PRSs and like I don't know. I played a $1,700 335 the other day, like a 2017, and I absolutely hated it. Like it was one of the worst guitars I've ever held in my life. And I was the guy
Really?
and I'm the guy that set it up, and I set it up to its like exact specs, like exactly how the guy wanted it, and he was in love with the way it played. And he asked me how I liked it, and I was like, well, it plays really well, but I hate the shape of the neck, and I hate the way the pickups sound, and I hate, like, it was just all my personal preference because, he asked me what my
Is
personal
it
preference
too
was.
much? Is
Yeah.
the neck too much?
I think the neck was just way too much for me. I mean, I'm used to playing that really early 90s Strat neck, real thin
Thin.
and everything. It's almost like a Telecaster, but with a less harsh shape.
For those of you not familiar with this, you have no idea the amount of muscles that are in your hand until you go and play a guitar with a neck that you're not used to.
Oh, my
and
God.
then you feel all of them.
Joey let me play his Gibson 347 at a show one night, and it's this beautiful blonde, like LTD, beautiful, gorgeous
Yeah.
guitar. And it made me sound way better than I actually am. And the next day I like came back to work and I was like putting it all together, and Joey was like, how was it? And I was like, it was really good, but now my hand hurts and my shoulder hurts. And I was like, it's way
Yeah.
heavier than anything I'm really used to going. Cause I mean, I got a Les Paul, but I don't play it.
It's too heavy.
Yeah. It's too big of a guitar for me.
Yeah. I had a that 7-string that I was telling you about. I had an Ibanez 7-string that was just a solid body, like just really big guitar. It was kind of like an SG.
Yeah.
It was like Ibanez version of an SG, but it was so damn heavy.
Well, I'm not a big fan of SGs either. I think they make me look fat whenever I hold them. Like,
Man, a lot of guitars do that to me, man.
I know that's a ridiculous statement, but I just think, I don't know. I like the way I look when I have like my Fiesta Red Stratocaster on.
Yeah.
Or I've got a 5620, I think, a Gretsch, like a big old hollow body orange thing, and I like the way I feel like I feel like Chet Atkins when I'm holding that guitar, But whenever I hold an SG, like, I'm not gonna play Crazy Train. Like, what am I? Like,
That's great. But nah, I feel that way about my guitar. Like my guitar is just it fits me perfectly. Like I feel like my guitar looks like me and I look like it.
it should.
And yeah, and I feel I don't know. I played mandolin with Josh Brandon one night, who actually called me a while ago asking for a cable, and I didn't answer the phone in time. But
Sorry, man.
yeah, sorry, Josh. But anyway, yeah, I played mandolin with him one night, dude, and I'm a big guy, and just a mandolin is this size, and I'm like up here.
Man, you should come see us play sometime when the band Suavocado, is like me. And
you got the ukulele.
Yeah, we got the ukulele
Yeah.
player, and he like jams out, and we play like Pink Floyd, and we'll do Grateful Dead, and then we'll jump into like Aaliyah and Drake, and we'll do like some TLC, and it's fun. We do like Hot Fish and Bubba's and all that.
That sounds
stuff.
like a cornbread set.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, but
That's awesome,
yeah,
man.
it's a lot of fun, man. But the ukulele player, we always have somebody ask us because it always looks ridiculous because he's standing next to Panda, who's a giant and then plays
Yeah.
bass, and then me, who I'm look like me, and then him, who's having this tiny little
Yeah.
ukulele chilling on stage, and we're jamming out to Earth, Wind, and Fire. Like, yeah. Oh, by the way, on the 21st of September, we did that show at Bubba's, and we got tipped to play it, I think, 4 times that in one night.
Hell yeah.
And we just kept doing it, but I'm good with never playing that song again.
Oh man! Well, as you're saying that, I'm thinking like, well, shit, that is a much better song to have to play multiple times in a night than Tennessee Whiskey
Oh my God.
or
Can't do it,
Wagon
man.
Wheel.
I can't do it. Most of those songs, like I do Wagon Wheel and stuff, but I got to a point where I couldn't actually play them like the original tunes. Like
Yes.
and then all of a sudden, like none of my songs started sounding like the original. I started not doing them in like even the correct key.
That's healthy.
No, I think so too. I think
That's
as
healthy.
a musician, it's good to
Yes.
start and you're like, hey, I really appreciate this song. I'm going to learn this song, and then you start doing there, and then all of a sudden you take that and then you change it over to your own jam. Like right now, I'm trying to do a jam between what's that song? Sarah Smiles and Genuine's Pony.
Oh
Yeah,
shit!
you can do a crossover between the two. So and it's actually really cool.
That's
it all,
pretty wicked.
It all matches like in between the two, so it's all the chords work. So
That's
fun.
pretty awesome.
I encourage any musician to go out of their comfort zone and create a new song underneath the existing lyrics of a song you love and jam out. It's well worth it for your soul. It's well worth it for your
It
musicality. It's awesome, man.
It
Just do
is, and it does so much, like you say, for your soul. Like it really, especially if you feel like, oh man, I'm doing the same shit over and over and over, and you
Yeah.
get bored. That is a way to remedy that immediately.
It's awesome. I've been stuck in a rut for, I don't know, a year and a half now, like where I can't like write anything. And
Yeah.
all of a sudden, the past couple days, I've tracked 2 entire songs that my cousin and I have written. We're putting out his whole album and everything, and we couldn't figure out anything. And all of a sudden, in 2 days, I've tracked 2 songs almost entirely. And now we're just got to do some vocals, and boom, we got 2 songs almost completely done that we've been trying to do for a year and a half.
Dude, that's great.
Inspiration strikes in crazy times, and you never know when it's going to go, so you just got to take it and ride it, man.
How often is it when it's just inconvenient?
Oh, all the time, and it sucks
And you lose so many gems, like
Man.
this will be great, and then you forget about it and it's gone.
Man, that happens to me more often than not, especially having like a husky. Like I live in
Yeah.
like a small, 1-bedroom apartment with me, my girlfriend, and a husky. And whenever I'm jamming out, they're in the same room as me all the time. And
Yeah.
so I'm jamming out doing my thing, and they're really good about letting me. She's awesome about letting me do whatever I want.
Yeah,
whenever I
that's
want to do.
good.
And so it's a great, and she doesn't mind playing music. She gets serenaded every day. It's pretty terrible, right?
Yeah.
But like there gets to a point where like my dog is being bad or something goes on, and or the TV's on, and I don't want to be mean to her because it's her living space as
Yes.
well, and you have to
That's
make
considerate.
compromise and be considerate, and it just goes to a point where all of a sudden your inspiration is like you're also fighting it, and you're like there's not a point, like I'm done, like it's over, it's done, like, and it sucks, like because then you lose momentum,
Absolutely, you do.
like, and it just sucks.
I'll be in this situation, and to be honest with you, I actually bought a specific shower curtain for this purpose because all your best ideas happen where?
In the shower, man.
Every single time, right?
I wrote every song that my high school band played. I was in a high school ska band called The Knights from Around. It was terrible and awesome at the same time.
That's
man.
great.
Yeah, and I wrote every single one of those songs that we were playing in the shower. It was great. They were all terrible and they were all gitchy, and I don't
That's
care.
why you're the
Great,
most
man.
creative. Where you're the most creative is in the shower, and I don't know why that is. I have a shower curtain that I bought that allows my phone to be on the outside of the shower curtain, and like I'll like voice recorder, and I'll like just talk, and just
That's awesome.
like that's the way to do it. I don't know if anybody else. I'm sure 999% of the people who bought that shower curtain had one specific purpose for buying it.
I might have to figure something out. I have a sliding glass door like on my shower. Like
Yeah.
it's like one of those like Japanese where you slide it one way and then you can slide it the other way kind of thing, like crazy. But
Dude, get a Ziploc bag, man.
I got an Alexa. Maybe I'll just turn Alexa on.
It's listening anyway, dude. Dude, so the FBI.
Why can't she remind me?
Dude, the FBI requested the Echo tapes from some house where some murder happened or something like that.
Awesome.
They requested the Echo tapes, which means that this thing is legit, constantly listening, constantly recording.
Government, if you're watching me, you're welcome. That's all I have to say to that. You are welcome for all of the classified information on my personal life. It is fabulous, if I do say so myself.
Dude, I've lived ever since I saw the Truman Show as a kid, I've been living like I've been on film. So
Sometimes it feels like that. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, all of a sudden today, my dad was like, he's at this convention in Florida, and he ran into a company that I used to work for, and then a guy came into my shop where his son currently took a job that I literally had for the company that I used to work for.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's coincidence is amazing.
it's like,
Serendipitous.
who's writing this script?
Not me.
God,
I
not
don't
me.
write anything, man.
Once you realize that you're not writing the script, life's a lot easier to get along with.
That's why I had to move back down to here to the beach, man. I was away for about 10 years and came back, and I'll tell you what, it feels wonderful to live next to something so humbling like the ocean. And
Yes.
and not a lot of people a lot of people take it for granted, and they say, "Oh, I haven't been at the beach, all year and stuff." Well, that's cool, but you literally live next to something so vast, we have no idea how deep it really is, or what's down there, or
Yeah.
what's going on. We've barely explored any of it. We've explored more of space than we have
Absolutely.
of our
We
own
know-
ocean.
That
And-
was a stat I was going to use.
yeah, and we literally live, a block from here is the ocean. Like, it's freaking humbling, man.
It really is, and I'm one of those people who never goes to the beach, but knowing that it's
That's
there,
okay. Yeah, and
knowing
that's-
that it's there is enough. It really is, and man, I worked for beach services in North Myrtle Beach for ever. Like
I couldn't do that.
Like I like every single day, like 6:30, I'm out there digging holes for umbrellas, going by, popping umbrellas in the holes, and carrying the chairs out, and waiting for somebody to rent them. And like I did that every single day for a really,
those
really fucking
Blue
long time.
umbrellas.
Yep,
Blue umbrellas, man.
When
It's
you look out of your when you're on vacation, ladies and gentlemen, and you come down to the beach and you look outside and you see those perfect rows of blue umbrellas that go on. There are people who are paid handsomely to do that.
They are, and it's really cool.
Most
'cause,
money I made in my life.
That's awesome.
Most money I made in my life, like for the amount of work, like I would go out there and I would work for 30 minutes, do my thing, go sit under my umbrella and just chill, read. I read the Bible in the summer.
Man, I paid student loans to do that. Dang.
Did you do religion?
I went to North Greenville University for a year.
Oh, yeah.
and
Wesleyan?
No, up in it's like Southern Baptist Convention.
Okay.
And so I went there, and they make you go to church like twice a week, and
Yeah.
they make you take New Testament survey, Old Testament survey, and that's where they make you read like the pseudepigrapha and the apocrypha, and all those crazy books in between that aren't considered the Word of God and stuff. And it's kind of fun because whenever you start to get into a conversation with somebody about religion, and then they start to bring up Scripture and stuff, and then you start to actually quote Scripture as well, they start to freak out because they're like,
I don't know as much as this
they're
person.
like, "Oh my God, dude, have I read this as much as you're?" And you're like, it doesn't really matter
Yeah.
because nobody really cares. Like, it's like if you're already starting to argue about it, like you're the only person that really
Yeah,
cares
exactly.
about it. And when you're reading something like the Bible, man, I don't know, I looked at it more of like a story. Like when I was
As
looking
did
into
I.
it, yeah, like I looked at it like, oh my God, okay, I want to read the story of Jesus Christ. Let's check this
Yes.
out and let's see what it is, and let's get exactly what the writers or him or whatever it is trying to get across. Because there's like 40 different writers of the Bible.
Yeah. That's the thing that got me is that I come from a very, very Christian family.
That's me, man. my
And,
family, they own a church.
Yeah.
Or run a church. I don't know if you can really own a church.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I get what you mean though, because I graduated from a Christian academy, and there was a church associated with that, and the administrator was my best friend's dad, one of my best friend's dad, and like I knew a lot about the going ons inside the church, and like sat in on all the board meetings and whatnot, and just you hear all of the stuff that goes on within them, and I lived that life for all of my childhood basically. And I think that I got out and just realized that I got out into the world with some people who weren't in that circle, and realized, oh man, like there's a huge misunderstanding of what Christians are that have been created by a lot of idiot Christians.
Well, yeah, I think hypocrisy is one of the biggest things that riddles Christianity in general.
Yes.
And I think that that's a bad thing because I think a lot of people, they like to group all Christians together, and they like to say,
Well, and that's not just Christians. That's any group. Too.
Well, that's any group. Whether when you see all the the different terms for every single political spectrum on Facebook. I mean, literally, there's a term for everything now, and it's ridiculous. And people like to group everybody together, and they like to pinpoint different problems on people, and they like to do all stuff. But I think the problem with that is that everybody's trying to fight symptoms.
Yes,
and like they're trying to fight like a runny nose rather than actually fighting a virus, or they're missing the point, and they're looking at it so skin deep rather than actually fighting through all the crappy nonsense and stuff, and actually trying to fight what is causing all of the turmoil that's been going on in the first place. And I think it's hard for people to find that. And I think in Christianity, one of the biggest issues within the problem with any PR stunt they got going on, any thing that happens within the Catholic Church, anything that happens within like the Protestant, any section of it, it all boils down to some sort of hypocrisy within those people.
Absolutely.
And I think they try to hold themselves up to this impossible standard. Like, they're human beings. Everybody's going to be, and you have to understand that. And I think a lot of the newer, younger age Christians are starting to do that kind of mentality where I'll have a lot of guys that come into my store that they're freaking kick-ass guys, man. And they're like leaders of churches, and they're just freaking awesome. And I want to hang out with them all the time. And I don't know a single guy, above the age of 50 that runs a church that I would want to really chill with.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way. But I do see, I was part of a Bible study not long ago with John Schaefer, who's Adam. Nice. Adam, you know John.
Yeah.
John Schaefer is Adam's brother-in-law.
Okay.
And I did a Bible study with him for a really long time, and he's one of the few people who actually gets what church is. Mm-hmm. He said that if he could get by with not having a building, he would.
Well, I mean, that's the whole part of, being the upper room fellowship. A lot of people miss that part where, they would just find wherever they could and just worship in any way possible, whether it was anything. We started a church in college when I was actually at North Greenville that was kind of based off that. We would just kind of go wherever we really could, invite whoever really wanted to come, and then we'd all have dinner. And instead of preaching out of the Bible, what we would do is anybody have a problem? Like, what's going on in your life? Anybody feel led to just ask a question and need some help? And then we'd go from there, and then we'd use the Bible as a kind of like a dictionary.
That's a really next generation way of doing things. Yeah,
and it was that kind of way. And it was as far as churches go, it was my favorite form of church I've ever been a part of, to be honest with you, because it was honestly, I felt like it was using something that was supposed to be used for good.
It took the theatrics away.
Yeah, there was no theatrics. It was just like, yo, this is what this says. What do you guys think about this? Let's interpret this in a way that we can help ourselves or other people or any way possible. Like, you want to help people, so.
Yeah, now I wonder, I assume you've been in church bands.
Oh, yeah, I grew up playing in fellowship bands. And
same here.
Like that. Yeah.
I have explained this to listeners several times, but I feel like I may be a little harsh about how grueling that process is.
No, it's I mean, learning, especially, I don't know, I played like a lot of praise and worship, like and it's a lot of those airy.
Same here.
Especially nowadays. I mean, you got to have
pads,
everything's going to town. I mean, things and then the crazy thing was this, man. Hold on. So I started playing in like really basic evangelical like Christian bands, all that airy, playing G and let's do some sevenths and some ninths and hold the reverb, make it drip forever kind of thing, and and I loved it and it was great. And then I was getting more into drumming, and I said, okay, I'm gonna really like play for something else, and then I got asked to play for a church, a Pentecostal Holiness church.
Oh, they get down.
Oh, man, I was not prepared.
I graduated from Pentecostal high school.
Yeah, man. I thought I was a good drummer, and nope, I was not prepared for that. And I'll tell you what, playing with those dudes was one of the best musical experiences of my life. And talk about playing some real gospel music. Whenever you start to do like a shout, man, it's like going to town and like you can't even let up. Like it's continued to inspire my music for the last, I don't know, 15 years.
Oh yeah, well that's
since I started doing that journey, like it really.
That's one thing though. Well, and what mainly what I was getting at, I guess, is that for me, you just don't realize how much work goes into being in a church band, and for me,
there's a lot
it
of
robbed
production.
me of the passion of going to church.
That's fair. I mean, there's a lot of, I don't know, there's a lot of responsibility that goes into running different parts of like an actual church, because people forget that church is still a business. You know, it's still, people have to live and people have to get paid and people have to do certain things. And for a church to run, you know, certain things has to happen, you know, and that's why you tithe and give money and donate and all sorts of stuff like that. So it can't. But the problem is that the people running that, it does drain it. It's when you take something you love and you turn it into a job. It's not nearly as fun. And people forget that just because it's a religion, that doesn't mean that it can't also apply to that. That same rule, like, you know,
absolutely.
Like I took music and I took it into a job, but I figured out a way that I like to do it, to make money doing it, rather than, you know, forcing myself to, you know, do something I hated. I chose to do something I like. But a lot of these pastors, a lot of these young guys that are getting into, like, you know, leading worship leaders and stuff like that, they're quickly finding that turning something they love to do into something they have to do is a negative experience for them. And it sucks because
that got me.
Yeah, and it sucks because it's hard on you, it's hard on churches, it's hard on your community, and you know, people. Well, we're humans. We're supposed to be in a community.
Yeah, and then if you get to the situation where if you truly are a believer, and then you feel like, oh man, you know, like my heart is not in the right place. I cannot properly lead these people in worship because,
and that's guilt that you shouldn't have.
My heart's in the wrong place, and that's what I thought, man. I was like, you know, I should not feel this way. I shouldn't have this guilt, but I do, and I did, and I played. I was in the Ocean Drive Presbyterian Church band up in North Myrtle Beach on 6th Avenue for a couple of years. And that is every Saturday at 11 rehearsal, every Sunday, and then Wednesdays I would do some youth group stuff too with the youth band. And it was just like, it was sort of like a job doing the thing that I like to do. And rather than, and I've even told Smitty and Adam, I was like, you know, cornbread seems more like punching a clock than some other things, and I get to.
But that's okay.
But that's okay because I get, you know, the American sound, or I get my solo thing, so I can, you know, do, you know, keep that garden watered, and I just felt like confined by the church band, and felt like I was like, oh man, now I'm not looking forward to going to do the thing that I used to love, you know, gain nourishment from, you know, spiritual nourishment. It was robbing me of that.
Well, guilt is a really, I don't know, it's an interesting subject, because when you start to think about it, and you, once again, I think it's more of you're looking at symptoms, you know, at least when I think about myself and I start to think of like what I'm guilty of, because I've been in that exact same, you know, scenario where I was in this group at church and we were doing our thing, and then all of a sudden it was just horrible, and I hated every second of it, and I was miserable. I hated going. I was miserable before because I was going, and then afterwards I was miserable because I went. You know, it was just a horrible experience, and I was guilty about it because I didn't want to quit because they didn't have another drummer, you know?
Yeah.
And it sucks. But I think growing up, I at least now, I realized that, I don't know, a really cool quote by Eleanor Roosevelt, I think, is, you know, no one can make you feel bad without your consent.
Yes.
And I think that's a really incredible quote in general, but I think if you apply it to not just, you know, like, oh, I feel bad, you know, you apply it to, you know, your own self. Like, this guilt that I'm driving and everything like that, this is my own doing. Like, I'm doing this. Nobody feels bad. Like, if I can't do something, like, people understand, and they are humans as well. And if you just communicate correctly and you communicate calmly, and you are, you know, you're actually show that you're sorry, and you do these things, you know, you communicate correctly, there's no issue. Then there's no guilt. It's all gone. And so the only person that was making me feel bad about the situation was me. These people understand. They got their own problems. Everybody's got situations. Everybody's got stuff going on. Sometimes you got to leave work. Sometimes you're sick. Sometimes you got to go pick your nephew up because he ran in the road. You know, like, sometimes you got to go do crazy things. But everybody has to do crazy things. So the problem is a lot of people they forget that, and they think that they're the superstar of the movie going on in the world.
Yes.
And when in fact we're all so unbelievably insignificant in the universe that it makes us so unbelievably special that we can do anything we want and it doesn't matter. It's so beautiful and I love it. And we are the only thing that can make us feel bad.
That's a really interesting way to look at it.
Like, sorry, I mean, I feel like I don't feel like my ideals are aggressive.
Yeah.
I just feel like I just feel like the rest of the world, like if the rest of the world wants to feel bad, like that's their problem. Like I don't have to feel bad.
That's really interesting because I've dealt with depression for most of my life, and it got to the point where I was like, I could either just decide to feel this way or change my mind.
Yeah. You're the only person that can actually help you.
Yeah.
Man, I know lots of people that battle with depression, and I myself, I mean, I'll probably tell a story nobody really wants to hear, or I probably shouldn't tell, but I don't care. I was in Dubai, working out that way, and they were paying me to pay in 6-star hotel, like freaking Meatloaf was in the room next door to me, like ridiculous situation I was being paid to be in to run the show. I was so depressed, man. I called my brother, telling him I was suicidal, all this stuff. He was ready to fly out of Myrtle Beach International and fly to Dubai, buy a ticket, fly straight out to me, man. He's my best friend in the world, and I love him to death. And he'd do anything for me, it's amazing. But knowing that, man, that kind of pulled me out, and it really, I quit my job the next day. I came home, I really pulled myself out, and then all of a sudden I realized I was like out of all that, people care.
Yes.
People care about me, and people care about you, and people care about what's going on in their life. They just because they don't call you every day, and just because they're not your best friend anymore, doesn't mean they don't care about you.
You are that star of the movie in somebody's world.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean we're the star of the universe or the star of the universe.
Yes.
And that's kind of where I'm going around with this. And we are important in the fact that we aren't. I guess it's a hard concept to kind of get around, because I know I'm kind of being a little weird out here, but we can do anything we want, and you're allowed to be depressed, and you're allowed to be happy, and you're allowed to not get it right away, and you're allowed to sit there and waddle or lie on your couch and watch Netflix for 5 days in a row. That's totally okay.
Yes.
And people think it's not okay to be depressed, and they think it's not okay to do this stuff, but everybody gets that way, and everybody's that way, and they think they're alone, and you're not. And that's where I think a lot of people get guilty, and they get depressed, and they get, angry, or they get, fed up with a lot of stuff, is that they think that they're the only ones going through it.
And another thing, too, is that the social media is allowing people to see only the good things in people's lives that they're sharing, out here. You think of the 99% of the people you see on Facebook are only sharing good things.
Yeah, I'm super glad that guy went to go see that concert that one time, but I don't really care.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I've got stuff going on at home. And I'm sure just like me behind my Facebook wall, there's stuff going on in my life. I'm sure everybody else has got stuff going on behind their Facebook wall, because that's exactly what it is. It's just a wall. It's just something that's literally right in front of us. Hey, this is what I'm going to show you, man. And I post, I have a Facebook persona. I'm sure people think I'm this cool dude that plays guitar all this time, that plays all this freaking awesome, sexy licks, because that's what I'm trying to go for. But I'm just a dude who chills with his dog and watches. Right now, we're watching Jane the Virgin. It's I work on guitars, man. And it's everybody thinks that everybody else on Facebook is so cool, but them.
Yeah, and I get the same thing. I understand that you only get to see what these people want you to see.
Yeah,
and I get that. I know that this is their lives are just as fucked up as mine, or vice versa. And I don't see the whole competition of that. Why people feel like they want to make a competition out of life.
Well, but that's the thing, is they feel that way. We're back at only you can make yourself feel that way. And it's really like that for any emotion or any feeling. If you want to be happy, only you can make yourself happy.
Yes.
I chose to, stop being with Feld and Disney, and I came home and I started to play music again. Thank God for Mac and Panda and those dudes for asking me to play. Because otherwise I don't know what I would have done. And saved my life, man. You got to do what makes you happy. You are the most important thing in your life. It doesn't matter about anything else because, like I said, we're so insignificant in the universe. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If you want to be an artist, if you want to be a terrible Bob Ross lookalike, do it. Walk around downtown and just walk like no one cares. Like,
Paint your happy little trees.
man, we were watching Queer Eye, like the new Queer Eye right now. If you haven't seen it, it's freaking amazing. There's this character or this guy. He's not a character. He's awesome. He's a man, and his name is Jonathan, and he's fantastic with his hair, flowing around and everything. And he says this thing called like living your truth, like kind of thing. And at first, I was kind of on my phone, not really paying attention to it, and then I started watching it and crying because it's awesome. And like he said that, and it kind of struck with me a little bit. Like, you have to like live your truth, man. Like, you gotta do you. Like, it doesn't really matter. Like, who cares, man? Like, just I don't care. Do whatever, man.
Wonder why that's such a difficult concept for most people to grasp.
Well, because they feel obligated to do certain things, like work a certain job for somebody else, or they feel like they should do something else. Like I don't know, we're pressured by a lot of different areas, from our parents, from our friends, from our significant other, from our current job. There's lots of pressure in different areas.
I really and this is sort of a recurring subject on the podcast, but I don't really want to blame it all on social media as much as I want to blame it on people's like that inherent want to be liked and accepted by those around you.
Well, yeah, we're human beings.
And Facebook has just widely broadened that spectrum.
Well, it's allowed our communication to go from literally
small circle to infinite.
We can contact anybody on the planet.
Yes.
Like if I get married, like I plan on sending invitations to every millionaire I can find an address to.
Yeah.
Just to see if they'll send me a present. Well, I mean, who knows? They might send me like a car or something, man.
I saw that. I saw that on Facebook.
Yeah,
I saw that on Facebook not long ago. Like, whenever you get married, just go Google all these addresses, send them invitations, because you know what? Somebody is in charge of reading that mail.
Yeah.
And somebody's going to see that, and it's their job to respond to these things.
Yeah. Think about it. They might send you a check. You might get a check. You might get, who knows? Like, what happens if you send one to like Bill Gates and then he actually shows up?
That's genius.
Like, it's either they send, like, it's a win-win situation. They either don't send anything, which, okay, cool. They either do that or they send you something cool.
Cool.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. Thanks.
Right on.
Right on. Or they show up and you have a millionaire at your wedding.
In the pictures. It's just worth it to have them in the pictures.
Yeah, like what like send one to like your favorite millionaires. Beyonce. Like Beyonce, Jay-Z show up at your wedding. Oh my God. Like Bill Murray lives in Charleston. Send one to him. Like
he seems like the kind of person that might actually show up.
Like that's what I'm saying. Like you can find like you can find the like Hootie and the Blowfish, they all live in Mount Pleasant. Freaking send them to them. They're all freaking millionaires by now, I'm sure. And you can send them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so, like, you can, like, it's like anybody. Because at that point, it could be your favorite people. And they're normal guys. They might decide to drive down for the day and just actually come down to Sunnyside to your wedding and, like, chill.
That's pretty hilarious.
Yeah. It's a win-win situation all the way around, man. You got to take risks in your life because, once again, only you can make you feel good.
You see, what I'm realizing is that this trip around the sun that we take every single year is just a strung together series of ways to cheat the system. And by cheating the system, I mean breaking out of the norm. The system being the way that people say things should be done.
Well, yeah. The problem is that people think there are rules.
Yes, there are no rules in this game.
No rules, man. Everybody does something different. Everybody. Somebody likes chicken tenders and nacho cheese. Like, that's their preferred menu.
I was watching a while ago. when you walked in, the podcast that I was watching, there's a Joe Rogan podcast with, I can't remember the guys' names, but they're Canadian restaurateurs. And Joe Rogan said, you know my favorite pizza is? Pineapple and anchovies.
Yeah, see, like, that's Joe Rogan, man.
That's Joe Dewey Joe.
Like,
There's no rules.
he likes pineapples, and my girlfriend, what, she got pineapples and olives and a pumpkin spice, like, sauce.
Blah.
Yeah, it sounds terrible. Like, I think there were, like, green peppers on there, too. Like, it was, like, horrible, but she got it, like, 5 times when they had the sauce. Like, it was apparently awesome. Like, she just loved every second of it. Yeah, not for me. I want, like, pepperoni and some, like, garlic and some, like, bacon. I'll take that.
Oh man. So
Cheesy crust.
So I haven't done fast food, and by fast food I mean like Papa John's, Pizza Hut, Domino's, McDonald's, anything with a drive-through.
You cut it all out.
Yes, 8 months.
Wish I could do that.
8 months, and the reason that I haven't lost any weight is because I still allow myself to eat anything that I want to eat, but I make myself prepared here. And the
So
root,
you still have like 3 quesadillas, but they're just your quesadillas.
yes, yeah. Like I'll still eat 2 double cheeseburgers, but I'm cooking them.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean,
like,
I do that as well. I mean, we'll cook like chicken breasts or something at the house, and I'll cook like 2 for me.
Yeah.
Like she gets 1.
yeah, I'll do. I mean, the root of all that, though, and I've said in episodes past, but not to you, is that I hated to clean my kitchen. So like it was, I just hated to do dishes. I hated to do all that shit, and I never minded it until I lived in a house full of roommates that nobody did dishes.
Worst. That's literally the thing I hate most about the house.
Is dishes?
Is dishes. I don't know. It's just like I will do almost anything to not do dishes.
Dude, I'm the
dishes,
same way. But
you have to do them. You have to be an adult, and
Yes.
you have to do them.
Yes.
Like, we're adults, and if I want my house to be clean, once again, I'm the only one that can do it. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna make my house to be clean. Like, I'm not gonna expect my girlfriend to clean. Like, although she does clean the house and stuff like that, I'm very appreciative and everything. Like, I don't expect her to go back and like.
It's
clean
not
my
like if
dishes
she
that
didn't
I
do it,
mess
you
up.
wouldn't.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's
yes.
not like it's you share stuff, but if I want something done, I do it. Like I don't
Yes.
expect somebody else to do it for me.
Same here. And obviously, I'm the only one that lives here. So if you and you know what's funny is when you live by yourself, you're more understanding with a mess.
I loved living by myself, man. I love living with my girlfriend, and it's great. And cohabitation is definitely where I prefer to be. But I think living by myself was a ridiculous, amazing time
Oh yeah.
because it's just
Dude, there's
you're
no
just you.
rules.
You're just you. You're just you, man.
There are even less rules when you live by yourself.
Yeah, just do you.
But anyway, but going back to talking about the pizza thing, I'll go to Walmart.
I digress.
No. I'll go to Walmart and get those take and bake pizzas,
Oh yes.
and then go get like a little thing of pineapple and chop up some pineapple and just disperse it all.
Can't do that.
You don't do the pineapple on
No,
pizza?
I don't. I don't like hot. Well, that's not true. I like hot pineapple. I think it's the pineapple and tomato like combo.
Yeah.
It's just not for me, man.
Have you ever had a peanut butter and raw onion hot dog?
I don't like onions.
Okay, well,
Yeah, I don't like onions. There you go. I did have a peanut butter and goat cheese burger and bacon burger on Bourbon Street when I was down there. That was really good.
Huh. That I wouldn't think about. I know that a lot of African dishes uses peanuts and peanut butter in a lot of dishes.
Yeah.
But I've never done it. India as well? I know India uses peanuts and
yeah,
like the
yeah, they had a lot of peanuts like just in random dishes and stuff.
Yeah.
And then, there was just stuff everywhere. So,
Huh. Interesting.
yeah.
So so we were talking about churches and all of that glorious stuff earlier, and I kind of made a mental note of something. When you were reading the Bible and you said
Yeah.
you wanted to look at it like, okay, this is a story that I want to read the story of.
Yeah.
I feel the same way, and I feel that a lot of people who are Christians, like, and I mean like the Bible thumping Christians, like legit, like my family, I feel like they misunderstand when we say we want to read the Bible as a story rather than the solid golden truth from God.
Yeah, they interpret that as I'm a non-believer, F Jesus and F all this stuff. They interpret that automatically,
Yes.
and that's not the case. When I was looking at the read, sorry, not to interrupt.
No,
but
no, no.
When I was looking at it like I wanted to read it like a story, it was like I was taking the weight off
Yes.
of the book because like they're like with Christianity does come the condemnation. You're going to hell, basically. You're living in sin. That's the whole thing. It's the whole shebang shaboodle. Like, so, and once you take that weight away from you and you look at it like objectively, and you take the values that it tries to instill in like the Old Testament, and then you realize that the New Testament was written to replace all of these rules that were way over the top and just especially in today's society, they'd be considered literally murder.
Absolutely.
And the problem is that people, they don't realize that, because they take the whole weight of Christianity and they take it all on their shoulders, and they think, oh, this whole Bible, Old Testament, New Testament, I have to follow both. I have to have all this, stuff going on. Everything's right there. It's not that heavy.
And the Bible actually tells you that if you read it.
It's literally, it tells you the Old Testament, take its values. They're very good. There's lots of things to learn from that. F that thing. We're going with this new stuff.
Yes.
Like, this is what you should follow. This book. It literally says, above all things, love.
Yes.
That's it. He said it doesn't, literally, Jesus himself, according to the Bible, and according to every Christian that ever said that that's his word, the end-all, be-all statement in the Bible, in my opinion, is that one.
Yeah.
Above all things, love.
Love.
That's it, man.
And the golden rule is just so simple.
Well, that's in every religion, too.
Yes, that just treating others as you want to be treated is the easiest way to have a good go at this thing that we've got here on Earth.
Just be you, man. As long as it doesn't hurt anybody else, doesn't matter.
And I think the Buddhists, or I can't remember what deity it is, but are like, just treat everyone like it's you in another body, because that's literally what it is.
Well,
every person is you in another body.
Yeah, there's a whole section of religion that literally thinks that we're all the same being. It's just we're all living in different lives. It's like where I have something to learn. Like, our soul has something to learn from my existence. Well, it also has something different to learn from your existence. And there's, currently 9 billion different existences that we all need to learn something from. Currently. Yeah. Like, within that, like, religion, like, currently. And it's like the hell of a lot to learn right now.
Absolutely. It is.
Like, so I think we should step on that, people. Come on, everybody. Start reading a book or something.
Yeah, right. Well, here's the thing. A lot of people are just... It's been made so convenient to, and you make the analogy of read a book. It's been made so convenient not have to read anymore, because, it's just been made so convenient.
I've recently went back and started reading some books I read like back in middle school and like
Me
early
too,
high school.
dude.
Man,
Goosebumps.
I love it. Oh, you read Goosebumps? No, see, okay. My brother used to read
all of those.
Goosebumps.
That row over there is all Goosebumps books in order. Man. I've got like more than half.
Okay, my brother
of the collection
used to read a lot, and he's responsible for a lot of, I think, me. And he used to read like Goosebumps and like Animorphs and Dinotopia and like all these like awesome, crazy worlds that you can just jump like right in, and it's just amazing.
Absolutely.
And like, so I was thinking about that, and I was like, man, like, what could I read recently? And recently I've read The K. I don't know if you've read that book. Okay, it takes place in the Bahamas, and it's this family.
Oh, the C-A-Y?
Yeah, C-A-Y, the K. And it this family, it's like World War II, and there's like, German subs in the water, and they try to get over to America, and then there's ship gets blown up, and the kid gets stuck on this island with this old black man, and the kid goes blind, and so the old black man has to teach him how to fish and all this stuff blind, and then a hurricane comes and kills the old black man. And sorry, I ruined the whole book. And then spoiler alert, everybody. Sorry. And then they get off the island. A ship comes and saves them, but the old man dies. But it's like an amazing story, and it inspired me so much as a kid. I thought I'd go back and reread it. Freaking awesome.
Somewhat
just as good as I thought.
Kind of like Hatchet.
Yeah, kind of like that whole redemption story. You get going, and pretty cool. Side note about this story, it takes place on an island that actually I've been to, and I didn't realize it until I was there on the island. Yeah, I went on vacation with my grandmother right before she passed away, and it's called Green Turtle Cay, and it's actually the island, the town that they live in is actually the town that is on that island. So it's pretty cool. New Plymouth is the name.
New Plymouth.
Yeah.
I wonder if that was the second location
Well,
stopped at.
well, it probably was because they were founded by like a lot of Dutch was down there in the Bahamas and stuff down there in Plymouth. There's a lot of Dutch, back up when the Pilgrims and all stuff came over.
Dude, do you ever wish, like, if you had like just a time machine to just go back and look at what the world was back then?
Yeah, I'm a big history buff, and a lot of people ask me all the time if I would go back in time, right? Like, where would I go back in time? I don't tell them I would because I think medicine is awesome now, and I like the ability to like grow hearts from like a printer. I would
absolutely.
much prefer that rather than waiting for the invention of insulin.
Yes, yeah,
So-
100%.
So my answer is always, I would love to go visit places and then come back. And
Oh
I
yeah,
think-
you can't stay in those
Yeah,
eras.
I think my favorite would be like Vikings. Like, oh my god, that'd be so much fun.
But see, you think about this, like if somebody who looks like us shows up in that era.
Well, have you ever seen like Black Knight or like?
No.
You ever seen like any of like the BET? Like, okay, there's this whole genre of movies where like these like generic white guys or these like generic black guys, they all go back in time and they're like in normal clothes and like they just have to like participate in like everyday society, but they have to like figure it all out. It's really, really funny. There's one I think called like Black Knight. There's a couple others where like one becomes like king or something, and I don't know. They're really funny, but you should check it out.
Yeah, that's interesting. I would just wonder what would happen like if somebody who looked like us just showed up in those times.
Oh, we would be murdered and
Yeah,
trialed
immediately.
and I'd be a witch.
Oh, I'm already a wizard
Yeah.
of sorts.
I get a magic trick if you got a tea bag. Magic trick.
What kind of show are you running over there?
But yeah, I only got one magic trick. But it's I
All
don't know.
mine involve cards.
That's okay. I can make it. You empty out the tea bag and then you like pull the mesh out and like you stand it up and then you light the top on fire and it like will burn all the way down and then once it gets down to the bottom and all of a sudden like a ghost like float away.
Really?
Yeah, it's really crazy. Try it. Everybody try it at home. DIY magic trick.
Spoilers. We're letting you know how to do all the good things here. But
Sorry.
no, you're fine. But dude, I would. So yours would be Viking times. You would 100%. Is there like a specific spot in history you would go to if you could, like one specific thing that you could see?
Oh, that's a completely different subject. Okay, I want to see like ancient Greece, and it's like freaking heyday with like all the monuments and like Statue of Rhodes and like all these gorgeous the Parthenon. Freaking, I would love to walk through the Parthenon and see all the scroll work and like art of Athena and every like that just sounds amazing.
What if you went back and the art was like dog shit? It was just.
That'd be even better. It'd be even better because then you could come back and everybody's like talking about how amazing it is, and you're just like,
yeah, it's not.
nah, that sucks, man.
It's not what you think.
Yeah, it's really not that good. Like the guy who did it really sucked at hands. Like everybody's hands are really tiny.
Like, dude, they had these huge faces.
you-
Or huge heads and tiny faces.
Could you imagine if the guys who did like the pyramids of Egypt, like the guys that did all the art like on the inside for all the historical what's the word?
Cuneiform?
Yeah. So they did all that.
Yeah.
Let's put the guy that can't draw like noses or something on it. Like they just have like a really bad flaw in their thing, and so like everybody's nose is like a schnoz.
Yeah.
Like just like
Like
a really big like
triangle.
like Phineas and Ferb nose. Like just horrible. I would love to see stuff like that because there are jokes or there are like well I don't know, I think they're kind of jokes like Little Bighorn. There's a like on this like the plot that says all the Indians that were killed and all that stuff there's actually a name of an Indian. His name is Pulls Out. And I'm like
With
95,
no children.
Like and I'm 95% sure that's a joke, but I don't want to say that because
It's like,
his name is
man,
Pulls Out.
I just don't think this is real, but I'm too kind to bring it up.
Yeah, so I want to go back into history and I want to see stuff like that. Like I want to I don't know, I want to see something magnificent just to see if it really is that.
You ever
good.
watch Doctor Who?
I saw like earlier seasons with like earlier
but you get the
Yeah.
dude. I would love to do that, like just to be able to just in and out of different. They just have a TARDIS where you just in and out of different things. Like I would just spend probably most of my time watching baseball games.
Just like a real life reading rainbow, rolling around,
Yeah.
just hanging out, watching like the best baseball games you could possibly imagine. Like, could
Watching
you imagine
every baseball, like going back and watching the Chicago game where Babe Ruth calls a shot.
Like, could you imagine? Like, that would have been.
Or to see Joe DiMaggio's last game, or anything like. And I'm not even a Yankees fan.
I would have liked to go back to go see. Was it Mark McGrath hit those?
Mark McGwire.
Mark McGwire.
Mark McGrath is from Sugar Ray.
From Sugar Ray. I go back. I saw him at Disney not too long ago. But I'd go see Mark McGwire, man. I'd see him hit all those runs, even though he was what he did all those drugs. I don't care.
See,
whatever.
they should let them all do it. Let them all do it. Why limit people in their abilities to make this sport entertaining that we enjoy watching? Not only that, I know we're bouncing all over the board. I'm sorry for that. But even still,
These segues are terrible. Sorry.
even still, no. Even still, it helps people remain healthy. It helps your body regenerate faster. Why not allow? Why take that away from a player? But that's my spiel on that.
Well, then it becomes a pay to win situation.
Yeah.
You know, then you get like the same thing we got with like Call of Duty and all that stuff. It gets a pay to win where it's no longer about natural ability. It's about how far can I push my body compared to how far you can push yours.
Yes.
And that's a really dangerous door to open, you know, and that's kind of where I'm okay with the whole, you know, anti-doping, everything like that. I think pot's a different story. I think that's everybody.
Yeah, everybody should.
That's a
yeah.
different story. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Absolutely.
There's literally multiple TV shows that did like those experimental TV shows kind of thing where they do the effects of pot on like your body, like, and then they did it on athletes and stuff, and it didn't slow them down. It didn't make them any better either.
Super High Me? The Doug Benson one?
Yeah. That's the same guy that did Super Size Me.
Well, it's the same concept, but not the same guy.
But he tried to do a bunch of weed instead.
Doug Benson is he's a weed comic. Joe Rogan calls him the most productive stoner he's ever known.
Wow.
And
that's impressive because Joe Rogan's really productive.
Yeah, he's the most productive stoner. And he's talking about like smokes from wake to sleep. Like all day smoker, wake and bake all day long.
Snoop Dogg style.
Yeah, the most productive one of those. But anyway, he did this thing, just the same thing that the Super Size Me guy did. He did 30 days on, 30 days off, and compared the tests.
Yeah.
He did the same exact thing. He did 30 days off pot after smoking every single wake and bake every day, and then just stopped for 30 days and took a lot of lung capacity tests.
Well, that'll mess with your system, man.
Yeah,
like, that'll mess with your psyche.
It did. It was pretty tough on him. I think that's on Netflix, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I might have to watch it. Actually.
It's good. But yeah, the whole pot thing they should have already legalized that.
Yeah, that's
and for sports anyway.
Yeah, well, it just should be. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, regardless of what you think, there's absolutely no evidence of anyone getting hurt ever. And alcohol, hello. Cigarettes, hello. There's more evidence of people dying from red meat than there is marijuana. So
that really bothers me. That really bothers me.
Yeah,
As someone who has quit drinking, and I know what it does to you. You know, I know what drinking does to people's bodies, and that's legal.
I mean, people can get opioids. People can get opioids way easier than they can get pot.
I heard that big pharma companies and Monsanto are duking out for pot now.
Well, because
they're trying to go after
because they know it's going to come.
Marijuana.
They're trying to do the synthetic stuff. They're trying to do all the.
I don't want stuff like that in their hands.
That's where it starts to get dangerous, man. But here's where I think the pot stuff is going to go. I think it's going to do like the beer stuff is. You know, you got a couple big brands. You know, Marlboro already has their Marlboro Greens. You know, they sell them at gas stations out in Colorado, all sorts of stuff like that. You can't open the pack in your car or anything like that. You can only use them on private property. Just you got to follow.
Really, that's real. I thought that was not real.
No, that's a real thing, man.
Oh shit.
Yeah, you can get them out there, and not in gas stations. You can get them in the
dispensaries.
In the dispensary. Sorry,
yeah, okay.
I misspoke. Everyone.
No. I didn't know that they actually existed.
Yeah, and Marlboro's already on top of that one, and it's basically what spliffs, what everybody was doing in the first place, but they just filled the whole thing with pot rather instead. So it's a cigarette full of, or basically a joint. A pack of 6 joints or something like that. You can get them like that. And people are making that all over the place. They're just calling them different things and all sorts of stuff. But I think pot's going to go into a craft brew, like a craft brewery, like beers and stuff like that. It's going to go in that direction where there's going to be people like musicians and, all the artsy people who are still going to be going to, oh, well, I have this strain and I have, all of this wonderful stuff coming in and, all this stuff like that where, they're smoking with, their pieces. And then you have, the 420 dudes that, 420 Tabit, brother, this is, at Dub 420 smoke session and her hot brother, blah, 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 whatever. And, doing on Instagram, those weirdos that doing dabs from lava, that they're going to buy whatever pot you can possibly get. They'll buy the synthetic stuff. They'll buy the dabs. They'll buy anything from Monsanto. They're the ones that are going to buy that stuff because they're dumb and they will put anything in their body.
I think, you're right. The people who know what's good and what's not, just the same way we make decisions when we're buying groceries, we'll know what's good and not.
Yeah, but I think that's where the market will go. It'll be marketed to two different types of people. People who are dumb and will put anything in their body, and then everybody else who likes, rather than Bud Light, you want some random craft other beer.
Do you have any IPAs?
Yeah, it's like that, dude. Which, I'm okay with that snobbiness. Whatever.
I don't mind.
It's your body. Put whatever you want in it, man.
I was that guy. I used to be like, what IPAs do you have? I was that guy.
I don't know. I like Guinness and I like white beers. I don't know. My favorite drink is Scrumpy's apple cider. It's an organic cider.
I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, it's an organic apple cider. They got it at the Claw House. It's really, really good. And I get it every time I go, every time I play there. Like, it's the only place I really do drink because it's the only place they got it. And the only time I ever really drink is when I go there. So I just drink it there. And then, but it's this thick, like, it's like almost like if it's applesauce could be really thinned out to be a drink and then alcoholic. Like, oh man, I just want all of it. Like, just open my mouth and shovel it in. Like it's so good.
I wasn't much of a beer drinker when I did drink. Like, it was all liquor, basically.
I think it's good you don't drink anymore, though, man. Drinking is it'll kill you if you don't watch it.
Yeah, and I was just those guys that were podcasting with Joe Rogan earlier. One of those guys went sober, but he's still like he's a wine connoisseur. He'll still like taste the wine.
That was my favorite part about traveling. Sorry, I know we're segueing.
No.
My favorite part about
the
traveling.
wines.
Yeah, man, we were.
See, I never did wine things. I never did the wines.
Okay. If you want to stay in the United States, if you want to travel, for everybody out there, for you, anybody who's never traveled, you don't have to leave the United States. That's end all. That's period. I don't care what anybody else says. The United States has enough wonderful, unrealistic places that you can go see. Like
without a passport.
Without a passport, you can I think it's like $50 for a national park pass. And I'm telling you, you can literally go to like Glaciers National Park and see things that rival freaking like you're talking Lord of the Rings level stuff, man. You're like you go out to the salt flats, like it's unreal. It's like an alien planet. Like you go up to the sounds up in Seattle and stuff. It like looks just like the vampire movie with the shiny vampires.
The Twilight
looks just like that movie, man, and it's gorgeous. Like
or the Redwood Forest, where George Lucas created
or the Gulf Stream waters.
Gondor.
Like you can go anywhere in South Carolina. We have some of the coolest, I think, wetlands in the world. We are one of two places that have lightning bugs that all flash at the same time. Like they all are synced, and the other places like Korea or somewhere crazy like that. Like. And us.
I didn't realize that. And lightning bug kind of went missing for a little while and showed up again this past year.
And then, we get cicadas every 7 years. That's freaking amazing. We get the Spanish moss. That's closest related relative, by the way, is the pineapple, which grows naturally here, even though it's poisonous to our trees. It's freaking beautiful. Like, it's gorgeous out there. And, I don't care who you are. This place that we live in right now is absolutely beautiful. And we are living a picturesque place that people pay good money to come to. And we get to just chill in this place, man.
We get it all to ourselves 6 months out of the year.
Yeah, we get
it's
paid
all
to be
ours
here.
6 months out of the year.
It's great.
My stepmom loves Spanish moss. And I always, I went the other day, I went to vote. I walked to vote. and I was just sending them pictures of like just random trees, like on just the road right here, Myrtle's Inlet Road, just one of the most beautiful walks you could take anywhere, and it really is a beautiful place. And I don't use this as an excuse not to travel, but because I've never been on an airplane and I'm weird about that, but I don't use this as an excuse not to travel. But I don't need to go anywhere. Like, this is a really, really fucking cool place. I love it. I love where I live.
There's lots to explore just around here, and people forget that. Like, there's old abandoned places you can kayak to, you can roll around. Like, we go camping just randomly out, like, on the PD River, man. Like, if you get a kayak, you can get a kayak from, like, Marshall's for, like, $150 during the wintertime.
Yeah.
And you save that thing, and all of a sudden you go kayaking during the spring and the summer. Like, you can go on the inlet, you can go anywhere you want, man, and it's way better than just sitting at your house. Like, you can do so
I don't
many...
know, man. I love sitting at the house.
All right, that's fair. Sitting at the house is pretty awesome.
No,
I'm not gonna lie. No, you're totally cool. I like sitting at the house. I mean, it's
No.
There's nothing
I
like coming
understand
home.
I'm an odd person.
No, there's when you say that, like, it's better than sitting in your house. I mean, it's healthier than sitting in your house.
Absolutely, it's healthier. 100%.
But better.
Yeah,
better. I think I
absolutely.
might have to agree with you on this one. That sometimes it's not better. Like,
Well, I get anxiety. I get the worst.
I understand that, and I've been dating somebody for 4.5 years with anxiety, man, and like, and it's.
You think
not
they're making
something-
it up until you get it.
Yeah,
Like, you think
and I thought it was just ridiculous, and then
Yeah,
all of a sudden
same
one
here.
day I realized that that's not really something you can control. Like, it's not your fault that you're feeling this all of a sudden, and stuff,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden, you have to kind of realize that they lost control for a second, kind of thing like that. Like,
Yeah, like-
it's not like that they're.
it's a constant battle to stay in charge of your own mentality.
Well, yeah, it's hard. It's hard to say that because it's not like it's somebody else's fault. Like, it's not like it's
Yeah.
somebody else's fault that they feel that way, or that you feel that way, or I feel that way. It's that I've lost control of that part of my emotions for a second.
Yes.
Like, and it's a lapse of judgment on my end, and it's my understanding of what's happening and my interpretation and my responsibility to get a hold, and I can't. And that happens to me on stage. I'll get there and all of a sudden I'm having a panic attack on stage some places. And
Yeah.
it's not fun. And
Once you have them, they keep happening.
oh my God, panic attacks. If you've never had a panic attack, you will never understand that it actually feels like you're going to die.
Yep.
Like, you will never feel like that until you actually have one. And then all of a sudden, like, 30 minutes later, like, everything's happy dandy, normal again.
Yeah.
And you're like trying to get out of it, and you're like you just went through a cold shower.
Yeah, exactly. I had a talk with Jeff and Jen Thomas. I don't know if you know Jeff Thomas. Jeff and Jen, Apron Strings.
Apron Strings. Yeah.
Yeah, they've been on the podcast, and
They're good people. They're good musicians,
yeah,
too.
great
Go see
musicians, great people. They've been on the podcast, and we talked about anxiety and such, and just how you can sort of feel if you have them enough, which I hope that nobody ever does.
them. Yeah,
but
I don't
if
wish that upon anybody.
But if you do, and you are one of those people who do end up having panic attacks pretty regularly, you'll notice when they start to creep in. You'll be able to, like, okay, I know what's happening. I this is a familiar feeling. I'm not going to freak out over this. I'm just going to wait for this little shudder of heartbeat that you feel. You feel it coming up from your stomach, and just
Well, that's where, you start to gain control. That's where, once again, sorry to jump around this whole thing, but one of my whole big deals is, you're 100% in control of your own life.
Yeah.
And so whenever you're looking at even things like panic attacks, where you do lose
this
control.
is my brain, my body. I'm in control.
Yeah, but at some point you get to a point where you're like, oh my God, I'm about to have a panic attack. And then, oh my God, I'm having a panic attack. And this is happening to me. And like you said, you feel every bit of it and you understand exactly what's going on. And it's your responsibility to eventually control it. And you're eventually to catch on and to A, avoid it, or B, figure some way to be okay in those situations, which, a lot of people, Hercules through it. That's what I do. I'm kind of like a bootstrap guy where I push through the mud and I just kind of go through it until it's done and then go through it. But I understand that not everybody is like that. Not everybody.
Every now and again, I'll get a doozy that'll really put me under for a second.
I
but-
mean, everybody does. Everybody gets knocked out.
Yeah.
That's like
I
everybody.
would say out of the panic attacks that I have, maybe every 10 or so are like really bad.
The worst one I ever had was the first one, I think.
Yeah,
It was the
I
worst
think
one I ever had.
that's
And it was on a plane.
probably really.
It was on a it was on a 15-hour flight
Oh shit!
on a plane to Qatar in India, and I was working for Disney, and something happened, and we had like there was some turbulence. I didn't know where we were.
Yeah.
It's 15 hours in a flight. You feel like you're in a cage, and all of a sudden I was like I'm starting to get weirded out by it now, thinking about it. Like it was bad. Like I never ever wish that upon anybody ever in my life.
Yeah,
Of course, I was like, I'm safer in a plane than I am in a bus. Like, of course, statistically, there's a.
You see, everybody says that, but I feel like I'm the person that's like, okay, I'll be the one that it goes wrong with.
Okay, but think about it like this: like, would you skydive?
No,
Okay, would you ride the bus?
I don't like to ride with other people a whole lot. Like I like to be behind the wheel.
All right, then you're a terrible example for this story.
Yeah.
All right, so hypothetically, if you choose to ride the bus, right, rather
Yes.
than riding the airplane, you are statistically more likely to get stabbed. You're statistically more likely to get like literally murdered. Like you're statistically like to get stolen. Like all these things on the bus, which doesn't really happen all that often, but you're statistically more likely to die and
Yes.
for the bus to get into an accident and like everybody die or
Yeah.
get shot up or like God forbid anything negative like happen on the bus. You're more likely to happen like that than on an airplane.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of where I'm like, okay,
I get that.
well, I guess that's where for me it comes into place because I have a big thing with heights, and so getting on an airplane for me was a big deal, and I think me flying with Disney a lot was a big deal because it was like kind of I had to do it like all the time, like once a
Yeah.
week, and I got used to it. But when I first started doing it, it wasn't really that comfortable, and the problem was I figured out that I was uncomfortable with the space. I was uncomfortable with the like I was stuck. Like whatever happened, I was stuck with these people, good or bad. We were either getting to this place or we weren't. So all
Yeah.
these people, like, I better be okay, like with all these people. And I think that really scared me because I didn't know anybody, and when you're flying, usually one or two people and you're sitting there and, it could either be the best trip in your life or it could be the last and it doesn't really matter. And that scared me.
Yeah.
But getting over that, I realized that these planes, man, I drive in my car every day and these planes are way safer. Like the guy that's licensed to drive this plane and to tell what's wrong with this plane went through hundreds of flights and went through all this like paperwork and has to have eyesight that goes a certain thing,
Yeah.
and has to be trained to stay up a certain amount and, has a second pilot just in case he gets tired. He has a second pilot to wake up and do his job that's just as trained, that's doing just as much. And then there's a third pilot sitting right there. And then there's probably a fourth one running a red eye chilling right there, just sitting in a seat chilling, waiting to go to his spot. So there's 4 people more than likely in a cockpit that know way more about this plane than I know about my CRV.
Yeah. Well, I get that.
So I guess it's a matter of like, I trust doctors, I'm going to trust pilots, I'm going to trust,
Yeah.
I trust these people that are trained to do it. Like, just like I hope people trust me with their guitars. Because I work on them every day. I hope
I get that.
I guess it's that kind of mentality.
It's inevitable that I'll have to get on a flight though. I know it is. And
Where are you going to go? You don't have to, man.
Well, I do.
My grandmother has never been on a flight.
Well, my brother's getting married in California.
Take a train.
I wouldn't mind doing that, and I actually wouldn't mind going on the ground just to see,
I would pay.
make the road trip.
I would pay good money. Okay, what I suggest is if your plane ticket is like, it's going to be a good bit of money to get from here to California.
Yeah.
So if you can take the time off, take a train, and see some stuff, man.
That's what I wanna
Really,
do. I wanna see
really
some things.
Like take a week, like that, because that's really all it takes to get from here to there. Like that. That's like take a week extra, and then come back. Like because that's like if you do it on both sides of your event, like you're good to go. And I promise you will not regret seeing some of the most amazing things you've ever seen in your life. Like we got some beautiful stuff here, and don't get me wrong. But seeing some of the amazing, like the Rocky Mountains, man, and the Grand Canyon, and Glaciers National Mountain National Park. I don't know. I can't remember the name of it. Glacier National Park.
Okay.
That's what it is. I don't know. You can see Garden of the Gods in Colorado. Like even just going up to Great Smoky Mountain National Park, like in Tennessee. If you've never been there, that is
And
one of
I've been
my
up there a
all-time
bunch.
favorite. That's my favorite national park, man. Right there, Maggie Valley. It's just
Maggie Valley and
just
the good. I've been
Knocks
to
it out the
Ghost
park.
Town and Santa Land.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times.
just knocks it out the park, man.
As a
It's perfect.
kid.
It's kitschy. It's like it fits. Everybody's like pronounces it
Yeah.
Appalachian. It's wonderful. I love it.
Yeah,
It's my favorite.
Appalachian,
Rather than Appalachia,
Appalachia.
I got that a lot of times. People around they don't say Appalachia.
Yeah, that's we
Unless
say
you're
that
from
down
around,
here.
Yeah, unless you're like from the area. Or,
I'm gonna go up to the Appalachians. No, we do. Cornbread goes up to Boone a couple times a year.
I still went to school.
App State.
No, I went to Lee's McRae up in Banner Elk. It's about 30 minutes up that, like at the winery.
Yeah, well, we stay right there, right in between Banner Elk and Boone. So we were in. I think the address is in Banner Elk, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, that's
Wait, which one? The address for where you stay?
Yeah.
it's more than likely in Banner Elk. If you're playing up there like the winery and stuff, it's more than likely Banner Elk. And that town, man, I went to that college. It's awesome. There's nothing. There's freaking
Dude,
nothing.
I know,
in that town.
man. And everywhere,
Nothing,
every
but-
store is like the old country store, like from the 1800s.
Yeah.
That they just kept up the building really well. Like, I love that about that area. But I get up there, and the last time we went, me and Smitty drove back as soon as we finished the gig, and I told him, I was like, man, I know that this is my weirdness, but I got to get back home. I was like, I'm more than willing to drive. Like, you
Yeah.
can sleep all you want to. Like, I know I won't be able. I can't sleep in a car anyway. So
That's
I mean,
okay.
I can't. So, like, if you want me to drive, I'll drive back. But I even told him, I was like, maybe next time when we go, I know that it's just financially not the brightest thing, but I'm just going to drive myself. That way, whenever the gigs are over, if you guys want to stay an extra day or
Yeah.
something, I can get out and come back, because like it just knowing that I have an escape plan, you know what I mean?
I've done that a couple times. Like I've specifically given myself the out just in case I was gonna have the
Yeah.
anxiety of like being in a certain spot, or I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I need to go home, like I don't know. I'm really attached to my dog, so if I feel like I need to go home, like and I got to take care of my dog, like I'm gonna go home and take care of my dog. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like it's
absolutely.
that kind of thing. Like, and I've done that at shows. I've done that out like same gig. I relate entirely to that sentiment.
Yeah, and like I even told them, I was like, it's not even so much that I might have, I might need to leave or might want to leave. I may want to stay, but I know that if I do want to leave, I can, and there's nobody standing in the way of that. So
And that's that's independence right there, man. You're in
yeah,
control
it's
right there.
Absolutely. Speaking of in control, you've mentioned those beautiful 6 letters several times.
That is my
in
mantra,
this podcast.
man. I am in control of my life. Whether it's good or bad, whether it's a freaking hurricane or whether it's a Zen garden, I am 100% in control of that.
Now, control has 7 letters.
Control has 7 letters.
Disney
Has 6.
has 6 letters.
Oh, well, Disney is my favorite thing on the planet. So
Now, when talking about control, I have read so many things on Facebook and so many horror
Yeah.
stories about cast members, and you worked for Disney for years,
yeah,
and you love Disney,
love it.
so obviously that's not entirely true.
Well, you have to understand that there's 2 different kinds of people in the world. There's people who like Disney, and there's people who believe in Disney magic. That's it. Like, I believe that Disney is magic. And it's not because, there's, fairy dust and all that kind of stuff like that. Disney literally is a place where you can go and be inspired. It's to remind you that it's okay to be a kid. It's okay to dance around and be stupid and do cartwheels at 30 years old. It's 100% okay to go watch a Disney movie. My 30th birthday is going to be a Moana-themed dress-up costume party.
What?
Yes, and
Right on,
yeah.
man.
So like, and it's one of those things where it's totally okay.
On with the demigods.
Yeah, man. Like, just be okay. Be you, man. Live your truth. And Disney is one of those things that actually
Live your truth.
Live your
See,
truth,
am I gonna
man.
have to watch Queer Eye now?
Yes, you need to watch Queer Eye. It's honestly, it's awesome. Like, it's seriously, it's freaking amazing. Like, it's just inspiring, and it makes you want to be a good person because all of those people on there are freaking. They're just good people. Like, there's nothing else to say. They're just
Smitty
good
mentioned
people.
something about watching it a couple years ago when it came out, or I don't know when it was. But
Well, the new one just came out recently.
see, I don't know anything about it.
There's an old one called Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, and they were.
I remember that when they would just
Yeah.
take a
With, like,
take a
Tim
straight
Allen
guy
and-
and
yeah.
take
Well,
a straight guy and then dress him up. I remember.
Yeah.
Well, I know Tim Allen from Food Network. So
Yeah,
I watch
well,
all the
well,
food.
he
I
was
watch a
the-
lot of Food Network stuff.
He was the original Queer Eye for the Straight Guy nutrition specialist.
Yeah.
So he would come in and he'd be like fixing their like kitchen and all that kind
Yeah.
of crap like that, making sure they're good to cook for themselves. And the guys they got now are really, really cool. They're really inspiring because they are exactly who they are, regardless of the perception of them around them. Like,
Yeah.
they don't get caught up. It's cool because they don't get caught up in the LGBTQ, whatever the rest of the letters are. I apologize for anybody. Like, they don't get caught up in the social media mentality. Like, they don't run around and they're not like, being.
Yeah, you don't see them beating down the doors.
Yeah,
for anything.
they're not going crazy about all this crazy stuff. They're real people and they have logical minds and they believe, good things. And one of the guys, Tan, in the show, he's been married like for 7 years or something, and he's an Indian, like from India, but he has an English accent. Very royal English or royal Indian, and he does all their fashion, and he has a really good point that when it comes to partners and stuff, like, well, do you want your partner to look bad? And he's like, well, no, I don't want my partner to look bad. And he's like, well, then why do you look like a dumpster?
Yeah.
like, come on, man. Like, you're only gonna attract
them.
Yeah, it's like if this is bad, like,
Yeah.
they're not gonna want to dress up for you too. And it's kind of a cool thing. I know we've digressed all the way over to Queer Eye, but
No, that's fine.
you should definitely watch the show. I mean, for anybody watching, watch the freaking show. It's amazing. It's a good show. But back to Disney.
Back to Disney.
I loved working for Disney. And technically I worked for Feld Entertainment, was technically who paid my bills. But we were under Disney contract, so we had to follow literally every single Disney rule. We had to have Disney people work for us. I was trained at Disney World. Like, I had to go to the parks and go back and like do all the training and all that kind of stuff. So it wasn't like I was separate from Disney. It's just my paycheck came from somewhere else,
yeah.
to be clear. But cool part about it for working for Disney is that you get to learn how to create that magic, and you get to learn how to inspire people to be that way. And a lot of people who work for the parks and a lot of people work for the hotels or for different aspects of Disney, they lose that mindset where they're like, it's a job. They're coming there and they're rigging people in, just like a front desk clerk, or they're, giving people popcorn, or they're running around giving people balloons, and they don't really care. And, they're there for a year and they come out and they say, oh, all I did was, scoop popcorn for a year, pick up trash for a year, and, live in the dormitories. Well, yeah, that's all you did, because unfortunately that's what it takes to actually give a kid an inspiration where all of a sudden that kid turns into the next, he's the next freaking Einstein. Because he was inspired because he saw your balloon float in a different direction. And all of a sudden, that 16-year-old kid now is right there. Disney is a place to inspire people. And that's what people forget. They think this magic is all about money. I mean, it is all about money. I mean, it's a huge business that,
sure.
Like everybody knows the mouse is ruthless. Like, they'll sue you and he'll cut your throat. Like, everybody knows that kind of thing. But when it really comes down to like the whole essence of what Disney was created, what Walt really wanted, and what the whole point of it was to inspire people, to remind people that it's okay to be a kid and it's okay to always be in touch with your inner child, because after all, we are only on this planet for a finite amount of time. And what's the point of living if you're unhappy?
That's a very true statement.
Like, just be happy. Like, it's okay. It's okay to be happy about weird things. It doesn't matter. And Disney, for me, really has inspired me. Working for Disney and going down there, I mean, I'm a season pass holder. I have a hidden Mickey in my tattoo. Like, I'm a weirdo, and I get it. And My favorite characters are the Three Caballeros, for anyone wondering. You're welcome. And and I think Disney just inspired me to want to be myself, regardless of what it was. Regardless of whether I wanted to be Robin Hood or whether I wanted to be Gaston or whether I wanted to be Pooh or who any of the other characters that I related with as a kid. Like all of these things, like it just inspired me to be okay with myself.
That really is their message.
Yeah, and people forget that. They think it's all about money, and they think they're spending thousands of dollars just to go to a theme park. But no, you're going $10,000 to go down for a week so that you can feel inspired again, and you can help your kid have that mentality of growing up being a dreamer and wanting to create things and have a creative mind and never losing it. Because let's be honest, man, life kind of sucks, and you're living at home by yourself, and you're sitting at your house with your dog and your girlfriend, and watching the same TV shows every day, and it kind of sucks. But then all of a sudden you realize that the world's a pretty cool place, and we can ride down the street and see one of the most beautiful sunsets I've ever seen in my life right on the inlet. And
knowing that exists.
Yeah, just knowing that exists. And people forget all of these things. And that's my favorite part about Disney is that it never lets you forget. While you're there and when you're talking about Disney or whether you're working for Disney, there is no forgetting about the wonder that is the world.
Every aspect of that experience is meant to take you away from the regular world.
Yeah.
Correct. No, I've never been.
You need to go, and if you go, let me know. I will freaking be marching down there with you, man. I love it. I go every chance I get. There's a reason I got a season pass, and if you get a season pass, you go 4 times, and it pays for itself. And that's because I'm a weirdo, so I go more than 4 times a year. So,
see, for me, Disney was that mythical thing that we were gonna do as a kid. It was just like that.
Cost a shit ton of money.
It was that mythical thing that one day we're gonna go to Disney World. One day I'm gonna take you kids to Disney World. One day we're gonna go. So I feel like maybe one day it's gonna be my job to get my entire family together and be like, we're going to fucking Disney World because we didn't go when we were kids.
My suggestion
we owe it to ourselves.
Is get your group of friends and go. As an adult, go with somebody. Because I'm telling you, you can go drink around the world in Epcot, which I did that for my 21st birthday. It was awesome. I cried so much they wouldn't let me on Pirates of the Caribbean.
Really?
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, I don't suggest drinking that much ever, but I drank around every kiosk at Epcot during Food and Wine in April, and we were, or not in April, it wasn't Food and Wine, it was some other festival or something going on, and we were, every country just getting me a drink left and right, going to town, and had dinner in Canada, and then walked over to Magic Kingdom, and cried so much they wouldn't let me on Pirates of the Caribbean.
That would be me. I would just walk into Harry Potter World and just weep.
I've never been to Harry Potter World.
Well, see, that's my thing.
Well, I would love to go. I mean, I'm currently reading the rest of the books. That's freaking amazing. I'm currently reading the books again, so because I like it so much. I mean, I think those books as a kid really helped me get into reading and be I think they might be my first introduction into a real fantasy world, a completely built world without but still kind of attached to ours kind of thing. I think it was my first experience.
I got the movies before I got the books. Because I was a little older. I watched the movies, the first movie came out, I was in high school, I think. So I read the books after. I started dating a girl who was really in. She was like, "Oh, I love Harry Potter movies." She was like, "You need to read the books." I was like, "Okay." So I started reading the books, but I have them all on a shrine in my shelf on my bookshelf in my bedroom with my Severus Snape wand.
That's awesome.
That runs the length of all of the books plus the Cursed Child.
That's amazing.
But my world was the Goosebumps books, and that is why I started about a month before Halloween. I wanted to try to build the entire collection by Halloween so I could read the whole series. You can read 3 of those in a day.
Yeah, they're 180 pages.
Yeah. So you can read 3 of them in a day.
Yeah.
So I want to read the entire series from start to finish.
Did you like the movie with Jack Black?
I loved it. I
thought it was a clever take on including all the stories that I wanted and included.
Yeah,
because I liked all those books growing up.
Not a Living Dummy was the scariest one because And it's funny that he ends up becoming the main villain in the movie.
Which I love because he's the Chucky of that universe, man. That's just
he really was. It was so
insane.
damn creepy. But yeah, actually, Adam's son, Cruise Man, is now getting into Goosebumps and all that stuff. So I've been saving doubles because I've been trying to build my collection on eBay. So I've been saving all my doubles and giving them to him. I gave him like a nice stack the other day, and he's like, the day he got him, he's like ripping them open, like, I just can't get enough already.
That's awesome. I love when people get into like back into reading and stuff like that. When everybody starts to read, because I think reading, Game of Thrones, I think Tyrion said it best. Just like a sword needs a whetstone, our brain needs sharpening, just like a sword. You gotta read books. You gotta that is the whetstone. That is the sharpener. That's the way you sharpen your mind. A, that's how you expand your vocabulary. B, that's how you learn to actually do some real sentence structure. And
that's what I was just about to say.
you like once you start reading, I know linguistics, everything, dialects and all this kind of stuff, but Ebonics is really difficult to understand when English is all of a sudden, in the first place, the hardest language to understand because there's words that everything in every dialect, regardless of whether it's Ebonics or whether it's, down whatever the Geechee or the Gullah or, down whether it's, the stuff down in Louisiana or, any accent that is vastly different than the English norm. I think, although is a dialect, is a symptom of literacy.
Yes.
Or illiteracy.
Illiteracy.
Yeah. I should say.
Reading those, I read one the week that I got them, and I realized in reading that, I was like, okay, so this is why I type the way that I do. This is why I use the Oxford comma, or this is why I write a specific way.
I'm an Oxford comma fan.
Yeah, this is why I do that, and I realize like making quotations within quotations. I realize just in R.L. Stine, one of the greatest writers of all time, I believe.
He's awesome, man.
One of the greatest writers of all time. I thought about it.
He's a cool writer.
I think he's my favorite writer. I said that to Smitty or Adam or one of them the other day. I was like, after reading those books, I said it on the podcast. I was like, is R.L. Stine my favorite author? Because I've probably read more of his work than any other author, other than maybe Paul, because Paul wrote most of the Bible, right?
Yes.
Other than Paul, I probably have read more work by either Paul or R.L. Stine than any other author. And J.K. Rowling I can probably count because I've read every single one of her books. But still, in talking about J.K. Rowling and Harry Potter, I really...
Sorry, I didn't mean to space out there for a second. I think my favorite author might be Michael Crichton.
Michael Crichton. I don't think I've ever read a single one of his books. I've seen his name on a bunch of them.
Come on, Jurassic Park?
I never read.
Oh my god. The whole Jurassic Park series based on the book is like ridiculous. First of all, the movies are awesome.
I do love Jurassic Park. That was the first movie I saw in the theaters.
Yeah, okay. First off, let me say this. The Jurassic Park one was by far, it still holds up today. Like, it's just a movie masterpiece. Like, it's awesome. Like, I love every second of it.
I watch it all the time.
Yeah, like, it's a freaking great movie. And I love that book. It is very different from the book. Like, it follows it very similarly and stuff like that, but obviously they deviate because it's a movie kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, read the books. Like, they're awesome. He wrote a book called Eaters of the Dead that is my favorite book, and it reads horribly, and it's slow, and it's nothing but a manuscript from a Middle Eastern ambassador to the North, like the Vikings. And what he does is he falls in love with this guy's wife, like a chieftain or whatever, I can't remember, like a sultan's wife, and he gets banished to the North as an ambassador. So he goes up there, and there's these people who think they're bears, and so they are attacking this village, and then they need 13 guys to come fight these bear people. So they get 12 guys that are Vikings, from Norway, and then they need one man that's not from the North. So it's Antonio Banderas in the movie, and it happens to be he's from the Middle East. If you get the movie is The 13th Warrior, if you ever seen it. It's amazing. And then they go up to,
I think I have seen that.
Yeah, then they go up to Norway and they fight these people that think they are bears.
They think they're bears.
They think they're bears. Like, it's not like they're just like dressing up like bears to scare people. They legitimately think they're bears. They live in caves. They wear these like headdresses. Like, they know they're people, but they wear like bear headdresses. Like, they think they're bears. And the book is does a cool way of translating that, because it's like a manuscript, like it's like information rather than a story. So I don't know, the book really struck with me because it was written so well.
Well, books foster for what's the word I'm looking? Imagination, rather than movies who rob you of any sense of imagination. Movies will create the world for you rather than allowing you to create it for yourself.
Well, yeah, but that's where I think places.
I guess that's not the right way to say. They don't rob you of imagination, but they definitely don't.
They guide you much
Yes,
better. Yeah,
yes.
They don't give you, like, if I'm you're not imagining what they look like. You're not imagining all that. Like, they give you automatically what they look like. They tell you what's going on. They know what the world looks like already. They already give you all that information rather than you having to come up with it. There's starting from zero. I don't know if you ever played Dungeons and Dragons, but it's like
I didn't.
Yeah, you would love. Well, I don't know if you would love it, but I love playing Dungeons and Dragons. Like, it's
Patrick, who plays trivia with me, who may be watching now, I don't know or not, who may be watching, does the Dungeons and Dragons thing.
It's awesome. It's so much fun. It's like hypothetically having a kid, but you get to grow them up to like whatever age you want, and you get to make them do whatever you want.
That sounds really dubious.
Yeah, like my favorite thing to do is like derail a campaign. I know it's terrible, and most everybody who's probably listening that plays Dungeons and Dragons hates everybody who does this, but derailing a campaign is really fun. And it's when you take a campaign of like 5 or 6 people that are running around trying to do, good in the world because everybody created good, and then my character decides we should maybe not be good, we should be bad. And like in the recent one we did, we were in this town, and we needed to get we had to get from point A to point B, but the only way to do it was to cross this huge ocean, right?
Yeah.
And so we needed to get this ship. So we found this guy that would allow us to take this ship over to his place, and then if we killed all the rats at the bottom of his ship. So we said, okay, cool. So we go down there, and I'm this, big, barbarian. I'm running, killing people, stomping on them, jumping around. And all of a sudden I knock over a box, and it has this axe in it. And I was like, oh, what is that? And so I told the dungeon master, I was like, hey man, I'm going to grab that axe. And he says, okay. So I grab it. And as soon as I pick it up, it like gives me like a +1, like thunder bonus. So whenever I swing it, it goes like thunder, and it like creates like sonic damage to everyone around me. So we are like walking upstairs in this thing, and the captain of the ship, who was already a jerk to me in the first place, let me be honest about this whole thing. He wasn't happy. He wasn't happy with us. So I was like already like irritated with him. And he looks at me, and he's like, "Why do you have my axe?" And I was like, "I'm sorry, man, but by the looks of it, it looks like it's mine." and so that started a fight, and then all of a sudden we kick his ass, and we take it.
This is on board game.
No, there's
actual.
It's just imagination. You're sitting around a table, and you're talking just like this, but we have like character sheets with all of our information, all our stats and stuff like this, and we're just talking, and then like everything happens, and I roll dice to see if I'm able to do it or not. You get a chance to do it just like in real life, and you roll a 20-sided die or a certain sided die to be able to do it, and then you have a dungeon master who tells the story and narrates the world.
Sounds complicated.
No, it's really not, because you only control one person. You control you.
Yeah.
And the dungeon master really has the hardcore job, because he has to keep control of 1 to 5 people, however many you got in your party, and he controls the story. So he makes up everything. So he does everything. Like he creates the world you're in, and he does all this stuff. And there are books that teach you, that show you exactly, like I say, you want to be a human fighter. Okay, well you can turn to whatever page in the player's handbook, and it'll give you all the stats that you need to do, and you just transfer them over to your paper, and then you apply them. You say, oh, I want him to use, like, instead of a sword, like a generic fighter, you're like, he's going to use like a falchion, and like this hardcore sword, and then he's like, oh, he's going to wear padded armor, and he gets this, and then all of a sudden, he gets like, like the helm of impenetrability, all these like crazy things that.
That's really crazy.
Yeah, and like they get like pluses or minuses to your stats, so eventually you get to design your character. Like I had one character, his name was Baron Brooks, and we used this modern campaign. It was called A Horror Story, and we were running around like modern day everything.
Yeah.
But like they were vampires and stuff that were trying to kill us. So I created this character named Baron Brooks, and he's this big black. He's like 6'8", and he weighed like 350 pounds, and he was an MMA superstar. And all he did, because he was a regular human, so he tried to punch a vampire and it didn't do anything. So all he did was just spend exorbitant amounts of money to cause distractions so that the rest of the superhuman people in my party could take over these like crazy like vampires and stuff.
So it's playing your role, basically.
Yeah, you play your role and you have fun and you do what you do. It's kind of like a test play of how you want to live life or whatever you want to do. You can kind of look at it like that. Like you're like, it's like a video game, like an RPG or whatever, but it's all 100% whatever you want to do. It's imagination by yourself. It's awesome.
I don't know what I would do with that much control.
It's raw imagination. That's what Dungeons and Dragons is. It's raw imagination. It's awesome. Because it can be in any setting. It doesn't have to be Lord of the Rings. It could be any setting. I did a Cowboy Bebop campaign one time that was awesome. We did one that was One Piece campaign. We did some that are, generic elves and dwarves and stuff. We did those. We did campaigns where we did one here in Myrtle Beach where like a parasite took over everybody and controlled everybody's minds except for the party, and they were trying to like figure everything. It was a crazy campaign. It was amazing.
That's what's happening out there right now.
I know,
You hear
right?
it?
Zombie apocalypse.
No kidding.
So imagination is something that should be fostered. Sorry, to come back like full circle. I know
Yeah,
we
that- I was
segued
just
pretty
about to do
terrible.
that.
Imagination is something that should be fostered, and stuff like Dungeons and Dragons, stuff like Disney, stuff like playing music, like you and I do, things like that. It should be fostered 100%. And I know we've kind of beat around the bush about a lot of different things, but when it comes down to it, whether you're inspired or not, you're 100% in control of that. And you can help other people be inspired, or you can help yourself be inspired, or you cannot. And it doesn't really matter. And it's up to you, and you're in control of that. And
Yes.
for me, I've decided to try and inspire myself. And if somebody else wants to be inspired by it, I 100% will do whatever I can to help you do that way. If I accidentally inspire somebody, come to me at the shop and talk to me. And if I can help you in any way, man, I will. I don't know. I just think we should help people. We're all on this planet flying, millions of miles an hour through space in a galaxy that is so small that we can't even find other galaxies our size.
If you think of the other side of that coin, which is that you either want everybody to succeed or you want everybody to fail.
Yeah.
So obviously you're going to choose succeed. You want everybody
Not all
to,
the time, and not a lot. Not everybody chooses that, man.
Well, yeah, I mean, but I'm just saying that if you're presented with that question, you're going to say, "Oh, do you want to see everybody succeed, or do you want to see everybody fail?"
I want.
Everybody's going to
succeed,
say,
yeah.
"I want to see everybody succeed," but when it comes time to put that forth in life, it's really hard for people to.
Well, yeah, but what do you define as
To keep
succession?
that.
Like, what do you find as succeeding?
Well, and I say, I say that you don't want to, not necessarily succeed, but just if you want to see people do well.
Yeah.
Or if you want to see people not do well.
Well, I think that's where you have to decide. Is like, well, I don't even think you should say succeeding.
Yeah, I think that was a poor word.
For me, I think it's, I want people to be happy.
Yes.
Whatever that means. If you're happy being miserable listening to emo music from 1993 and you're sitting in your house and you don't care, freaking do you, man. I will go chill, listen to Bayside, and man, I will just come in here and just, you want some makeup? I'll put we can listen to some My Chemical Romance, man.
Why
let's
not?
rock and
What's
dance.
the worst that I can say?
Exactly, like you know how many times I rock that out on the way home from Charleston. Sometimes,
love it.
it's so good.
My favorite time of year. I'm pointed at this right now, brand new. Man.
Yeah, right there.
I
So,
love emo music.
like Sequoia Prep School. We can we can go to town.
No,
man.
talk about Justin.
That's what I'm saying. You can go to town and you can start doing all sorts of that era of music, and that's totally cool because that's you.
Yeah.
It's okay, and people. That's what people miss. I think they think that, oh, I'm miserable. Well, that makes me I'm unhappy. If you want to be a curmudgeon, man, be a curmudgeon. It's cool.
Well, I did a talk not long ago about how people take one aspect of their lives and or one small thing about them.
Oh, my favorite is
And-
when people say they're smokers.
Just random. I'm a smoker.
Yeah, like that's their oh well, he's a smoker. You define yourself by one action.
Yeah, I use the thing as I use the thing as people who say that they're Christians or people who say that they're
Apply it everywhere, man.
In every single aspect, or vegan, or like, hey, I'm a vegan, you know, or hey, I do CrossFit.
Well, people are now doing it now to like you know their orientation. They're doing it like to everything, their political opinion, their religion.
Yeah.
They're literally defining themselves by one aspect of their life, whether it be literally it could be a smoker, it could be homosexuality, it could be right wing politics, it could be anything. Like there's a spectrum that goes full circle.
Yes.
And they define themselves by one aspect, like you said, and it's. I don't know. I think it's good and bad all at the same time because you got to have some sort of mantra. You got to have some sort of goal. Like mine is, I want to, I don't know. I've got 2 tattoos right now, and one reminds me to be kind.
Yes.
And the other reminds me to be generous. My third one is just on my foot, and it was terrible. Never get one underfoot; it hurts.
Yeah, I got one on my calf. It
was terrible. But the 2 on my shoulders, I got one in Brazil to remind me always to be kind. It's a tree of amity. To always like be kind to yourself, be kind to others, kind of thing. And the other one is a green sea turtle for my grandmother, and it's to be generous. Always give to other people. And really. Don't just give monetarily. Doesn't have to be money.
Yes.
Yeah, give time. Give emotions. Give a shoulder to cry on. If somebody has information, give or if you want information somebody has, like give it to them. Like I have people come in and ask me like that I think are ridiculously simple, dumb questions all the time at the shop. But from my perspective, I do it every day.
Yeah.
It's a little different. So I have to take even me and what I think with a grain of salt. And that means being generous to yourself, being kind to yourself, giving yourself room to be okay and to be humble and to check yourself before you wreck yourself. Like be, I don't know, self-sufficient. Emotionally.
There you go.
Being self-sufficient emotionally. And
that's a really good way to look at it.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do. And that's my mantra kind of thing, and that's that's my one thing that I'm sticking to, that I'm living with kind of thing. And it sucks that some people choose, I don't know, things that people either hate or don't understand, or they choose hate as the thing they want to like back behind. And it sucks, man. Negativity, like why do you want to like maybe I just don't understand why somebody wants to live a life full of negativity.
I was that person for a really long time, and it took me like stepping outside of my normal life and looking at like, say if I encountered me in somebody else, like, and I'm like, oh fuck, like that's not anybody who I want to be around, and it's caused me to alter everything about me, which is why I started doing the podcast thing. Started like trying to.
Every outlet is a good outlet, man, and I think that's something that people don't get. You have to have some sort of outlet. Doesn't matter what it is.
Absolutely.
Paint, freaking play music, man. Design.
A creative outlet.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what it is. And it could be like the dumbest thing in the world. Like color pine cones with glitter, man.
Do something.
Like you're like, hey, I want to make some dioramas. Like, all right, freaking let's do it. Like, you want to create a song, like that's awesome. Write a freaking tune. It doesn't matter if it's
Whittle
wood, man.
Do
I know
anything.
a guy who went and bought a lathe from Harbor Freight and now makes wands and sells them on Etsy just because that's what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
He makes good money doing it, and he was bored, and that's what he said he wanted to make a wand to see if he could do it.
Oh man, I gotta get a lathe,
dude. You can go
I've been
for
doing
like
all my shit for hand. I know they're like $250 for a nice one.
You can get like $150 over there at Harbor Freight, and it's one literally that. Just like that. Like, wand perfect. It's amazing.
See, now here I am trying to save money in the wintertime. I'm about to have to go spend $150 on Harbor Freight.
Here's the thing about saving money. Save your money. Do what's things right, because you do have things you got to pay for. Getting sick, your car messing up, your bills and stuff like that. But when it comes to spending money on yourself, you have to make sure that you're happy.
Yeah, absolutely.
If it's something that
if not for your sake, for those around you.
Yeah, man, because if you're unhappy, you bring everybody else down. And not to say that that's any reason why to like not be unhappy or whatever like that. You should always focus on yourself. You should always make sure you're okay. And your opinion matters. And if you're unhappy, that's great. Be unhappy. But I think if you don't want it and you want to get out of it and you want to do something like that, man, talk to some people, do something, get a great outlet, paint like Bob Ross. Like I said, create a freaking podcast if you want to. Like I said, I want to make one called Zen Nudes, man. All the noodle dishes around town. I think it'd be great.
Dude.
Like random things are fun in your life. Have the audacity and the courage to explore your own imagination, man. Like, it's okay to be weird and it's okay to be normal. Like, I can't wait to be I'm already a normal white person. Like, I love coming home, sitting on the couch, having dinner parties and, pizza rolls and stuff like that.
Watching Netflix.
Yeah, and that's totally cool. And it's a totally okay thing because it's okay to be you. And it doesn't matter whether you're right in the middle or whether you're freaking on every end of the spectrum, man. Be you, man. It's like freaking eep, op, ork, ah, man. That means I love you. I don't know if you've ever seen the Jetsons, man, but like that's like one of my favorite songs from my childhood, and it literally means like eep, op, ork, ah means I love you, and it's the most weirdest thing I've ever heard in my life. But why the hell not?
Why the hell not?
Watch that episode of the Jetsons. It's really awesome. It has a song that's like a whole song called Eep, op, ork, ah. It's really good. So,
love everybody.
Well, that's like look at my shirt, man. It's like freaking.
Turn up
the
the
love. Like, just
that?
be kind to yourself, man.
Mine says hangry hippo.
Eat something.
Yeah, I had a couple sandwiches earlier.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, man, I don't know. With the whole being inspired, with Disney and everything, it all really boils down to the whole thing with me is the reason I love Disney so much is because it inspires me. It inspires me to try and be a good person to me. It inspires me to want to be a good person for my nephew, for my niece, for all my cousins, all my parents, like everybody in my family. It makes me, and my friends even, it makes me want to try and be good to them.
Yes.
And Disney was the first thing to really inspire me to want to be good to myself, and explore my own imagination. And like I said, whether I related to like Eeyore or, Robin Hood or whatever random character, that was okay because you were able
Disney's
to explore.
large enough to where you can, no matter excuse me, where you are in your life, you can find a Disney character to relate to yourself and your situation,
even as an adult, man. There's
and the way out of that situation.
Yeah, like I relate to Moana. I know that's a weird thing like that, but I relate to that urge to go. I think I connected with because of that mentality and Lin-Manuel, with the music and everything, he really did a good job of using that outlet for him to help inspire other people. And I think his passion and who he is as a person also came through the movie and everything. And that's, like that option to go, that mentality that, you need to do something regardless of what it is. Like find that urge, like it's like Star Wars, man. Like the greatest thing that ever happened in Luke Skywalker's life was that he destroyed the Death Star. That's the biggest and baddest thing he ever did.
Yeah.
Man, go out and find your freaking Death Star.
Find your Death Star.
Like, kick some ass, find some Death Star, regardless of what it is. Find your Death Star. Like,
that's the thing. Avett Brothers, decide what to be and go be it.
Oh my God, I Love
Smitty,
You is my favorite album, man.
Smitty pounds those words a lot. He's got a T-shirt with that on it. But yeah, it's true. Like, decide what to be and go be it is the simplest.
Too, and that's where people think. And I think like don't stop at just deciding. Like
a transitional period is fine.
Be cool with whatever you got going on, man. Like it's all be you, be personal.
Because you're honest. The only one here.
Yeah,
the only one of you here. That's my thing. That's when you. That's your MO. Mine is honest.
Yeah.
Be honest. Be honest with me. I would rather someone be rude to me and honest than kind and dishonest.
I used to work at Carrabba's, and I had a guy, he ordered because I told him he usually comes well, and I lying is like the worst.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. You do not lie. Don't lie to yourself because when you start doing that,
as soon as you lie to somebody else, you're lying to yourself.
Communication is the worst thing you can possibly do in your life, and all of your problems, I don't care what you got going on, I promise you, all of them, if you have a single issue in your life, it's probably somewhere having to do with communication issue. It's not the issue, is the issue, it's a communication issue.
Absolutely.
The problem, not the symptom. Sorry.
You have so many nuggets
And I just kind of
your whole scene. I'm
my own way.
seeing mine is the one that inspires me the most. Sword in the Stone.
It's freaking great.
Mine is the Sword in the Stone. Like, I really just feel like you know, absolutely.
Emotionally, whatever he wants, mentally, like everybody deserves to beat up because not.
But everybody needs to feel that again.
Yeah, it's not just good.
Absolutely.
And people like want like happiness doesn't feel good.
Out of all those bands that I was in, got close to make it and didn't make it, that thing happened to me.
I don't care what anybody says. Some of my favorite times I've ever had was riding in the not showering and shows to next and riding around doing some of the, playing your music.
Yeah.
Hell out of my back. It made me depressed. Work sucked. I'll tell you right now, those moments. Anything. Like
Evan,
you're
great.
not. So, yeah,
That's
I don't
good
hope
for you.
Yeah, I really hope you don't do it.
Good for you, but guess what? Yeah, you didn't learn the way that we did.
Yeah, man. And,
Anywho.
Sorry, we digress.
No, you're good.
But
So we're coming up on the 2-hour mark.
sorry.
No, you're good, man. Any random final thoughts you want to leave with the good listeners out there?
I don't know. We've kind of been on a subject by accident, like with Disney.
Well, that's why I text you and I'm like, I don't want to do any bullet points.
Yeah.
I don't want to do any of that because I don't want to get in the way of natural conversation.
Yeah, and I didn't have anything, like, to be honest, I didn't know what to expect in here, and I didn't know what to talk about, and I didn't know anything. I didn't have any idea.
Well, there's nothing
what
to expect.
There's nothing to expect.
There's nothing to expect.
And I don't know, my favorite part about this whole situation right now is that, I like discussing, like, philosophy and, like, and things like
absolutely.
that. Things like that. But, like, if there's one thing I can tell anybody out there, I don't know if you're asking me if there's one bit of wise information that this old man
absolutely.
has,
Something like a touchstone.
Yeah, be yourself. Feel free to explore your imagination. Feel free to explore you, regardless of whether that is like be a musician, be a painter,
weird.
be weird. Like, I know everybody says, like, keep Austin weird, man. Like, keep you weird. It doesn't matter what it is. Like,
this Austin too.
Yeah, I'm a weirdo, so please come see me at the shop. I promise you I'll talk your ear off about random nothings. and it's totally cool. But explore whatever that might be. I have an obsession with guitars, and when I go to a concert, I tell everybody I'm with what kind of guitar that band is playing with, and what year it is, or what year I think it is, and how much I think it is.
Yeah.
Like, it's worth. That's my obsession. I know everybody thinks it's annoying, and that's totally cool, but that's what I like, and that's what's cool with me. And we are only on this world for what? 80 years max on, like, the regular?
Max.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
Come on. There's not enough time in this world to just not be you. Be freaking you. It doesn't matter. Find your Death Star. Like, live your truth. Do you. It doesn't matter whether
That's
it's
so good. Find your Death Star.
Seriously, like I said, man, I think that's might be my favorite thing I've said all night, and it's that right there. Like, just take whatever Disney, whatever, Harry Potter, whatever Lord of the Rings, like Pink Floyd, anything that inspires you. Just let it inspire you. Find your Death Star. Let yourself be okay, because it's not that people don't know themselves. It's that every time something comes up, they don't really want it. It's inconvenient, or they don't like it. Okay, well, I'm sorry. Keep pushing at it until all of a sudden it's the right time, because I can't tell you how many times I was inspired and it was inconvenient, but then finally we synced up, and my inspiration synced up with the time I had.
Yeah, and
all of a
sometimes
sudden-
you're just not prepared for that moment when it happens, mentally or whatever.
And that's okay.
You need some time to grow first.
Hey, man, grow. Feel okay
Grow.
with growing. Be okay with being you, man. And that's the problem
Life's
with
a
a lot of
garden,
people.
man.
Yeah,
Dig
just
it.
straight up. Do you. End of story. I don't care what anybody says.
That's good, man. That's a good message. That's a good lifestyle. That's a good way to live. And I could see that you actually live that. You actually believe that.
I really try to live that way, like in my own life. I want to be generous to
That's good.
myself. Like, you have to, man. Tomorrowland. If you've never seen that movie, you get two wolves and they're fighting. Which wolf is going to win?
The one you feed.
The one you feed.
The one you feed.
End of story. Which wolf do you want to continue feeding? Negativity? You want to pick that one thing in your life that defines you? You want to feed the one wolf that breeds something that you don't like, or whatever, your relationship or your job, whatever like that? Don't feed that wolf. That wolf is ugly and fat and nasty.
Feed the right wolf.
Yeah, feed the freaking sexy wolf that's sitting over this way that leads to happiness and is beautiful and wants to be whatever you want to be. If you want to dress like Spawn, dress like Spawn. If you want to walk around in a wedding wearing a Batman costume, freaking do it. Do whatever makes you happy. Be as normal or as weird as you want to be, because that is what matters.
Which is one of the lasting impressions that Stan Lee left on the world.
Really? I mean, I love him, and I'm glad that's
Be
the thing,
yourself.
because
Use your imagination.
That's, in my opinion, that's it for me. Like, that's
wise.
That is the thing.
Be you. Be yourself. Fun times. Well, Brother Austin, this has been outstanding.
This has been wonderful.
I don't
want
wanna-
a blast, and I'm sorry if I talked to everybody's ear off,
No, man. No, that's what this is for. That's what these things are for, man.
I love it.
But yeah, I really like the natural conversation without any sort of plans and obviously we didn't plan any of this other than the last few months that I've been going into the
shop, buying some stuff,
buying these this board, these microphones, stand.
Think about everything you're using from me except for the computer and the Miva.
Literally, you guys are responsible for all of the equipment using here. So 544 Sound Systems on 544. Go do that.
Come see me. I'll fix your guitars, your amps, your speakers, whatever you got going on. Come on, see me.
All the shit. All right, y'all. Well, so you've said Queer Eye. Anything else you want them to watch?
Parks and Rec.
Of course.
That's the good thing. Obviously The Office. Best. Avatar: The Last Airbender. If you haven't watched it, give it a chance. I promise you it's well worth. It's not just a kids show.
Huh. Is that Netflix?
I'm not sure. It might still be on Netflix. Show that's on Netflix right now that you should watch, Jane the Virgin. It's a Mexican soap opera. It's freaking hilarious.
Jane the Virgin. I just watched Big Mouth last night.
I can't do it.
Is it just too much?
It's just too much for me. Yeah, I can't do it.
It's the wildest show
I'm like
on earth.
a bad television show person. Like, I like That 70s Show and stuff like that. So I can't. Like, I like Waterworld and bad movies and television and stuff.
Dude,
so.
I like the dirtier it is, the better I like it. I don't know why, but it is hilarious.
I can dig it.
Anyway. Oh, goodness. I just lost something in my headphones.
There you go. Oh, lost it right there.
Oh, there we go. It's the... There we go.
SpongeBob.
SpongeBob.
That'll be good for your inner child.
SpongeBob is good. Yeah, I saw the a table reading of the guy who does the voice for SpongeBob the other day. It was pretty funny.
We'll watch the first 4 seasons. Those are the good ones.
All right. First 4 seasons of SpongeBob. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you for hanging tight in there with us. Be good people. In a world full of people making a decision to be shitty people, do not be one of those people. Be a good person. I've been signing off my podcast with that, basically, for every episode for a little while now.
Well, don't be a shitty person to yourself either, friends.
That's right. Don't be a shitty person to yourself. Take care of yourself. Love yourself. Be good people. All right. Love you. Peace, bitches.
Bye.
All right.
Man, this was the most fun having a conversation I think I've ever had.
Let's, bye, YouTubers.
Bye, YouTube.